just to treat everybody with respect and be a real human instead of thinking that they're above anyone, is to really look within and appreciate the beauty of what everybody brings. It's not everybody's evil, and not everyone is out to get you. So kind of just treat everybody with respect and, you know, be good to humans.
All right, so today is a very special episode. We have a very special guest. She's the CEO of Just Life Financial Corporation. It's a corporation that serves the community with credit, finance, and accounting services, and also business coaching. She was born in Mexico and raised in Newman, California. She's known in the Central Valley as California Boss Lady and La Chingona.
That's right.
Welcome to the podcast, Maria Lupe Medina.
Thank you.
And her assistant, guys. Erica. Yeah, so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to have you. I know we've known each other for a little bit, since 2014, I think it was. And it's been a few years since we've seen each other, and a lot of good things have happened in your life. So I'm excited to share the story with everybody. But the way I usually start most of the podcasts is I like to get to know people, like, you know, because I believe it's important for everybody to know who you are and where you come from. So let's talk about that real quick. So you were born in Mexico.
Yes.
What part of Mexico?
So it's a small little town called Moyagua, and it's next to Guadalajara.
Okay.
Probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay, 2 hours out of Guadalajara,
yes.
Right? And how long were you in Mexico before you came to the U.S.?
At the age of 6.
6, okay. Mm-hmm. So you pretty much got your subconscious programmed in Mexico.
Yes.
Because they say 0 to 7 is when your subconscious is actually created.
Correct.
Yeah, so anything that happens from 0 to 7, it doesn't matter what happens after that, because that's how you were taught to kind of, you know, who you are now, right? And Erica, you were born and raised where?
Here in Cali County.
Fresno County? Okay.
Yes, I was born in Selma.
Selma, okay. And raised in?
I've been raised in Gustine.
Gustine?
Yes.
And what's it like growing up in Gustine?
Very chill, very humble, very not so active like Newman.
Oh, so Newman's a big city, right?
We're super active compared to Gustine, yes.
Yeah. So how many people are in Newman total?
Now you were thinking maybe about 12,000 population.
Okay. And so has it grown recently?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I was raised in Newman, it was probably about a 6,000 to 7,000 population.
Oh, so it doubled.
Yes.
Wow.
And it continues to grow.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You know, I think a lot of that is happening now, because especially because of the quarantine, because a lot of people are able to work remote. So this is what I'm hearing. A lot of the tech people that make really good money. So like, you know, because of the quarantine and a lot of people are forced to work from home, a lot of people are realizing that they actually don't even need to be in the office and they're allowed to work remote. So what I've heard is a lot of people are going out to like Tracy, Newman. They're going out to the Central Valley because obviously it's more affordable. So you can buy a much bigger home and then they're just working remote.
Yes.
Right. So do you think that's one of the reasons that Newman has grown so much, or has it just kind of been slowly growing?
It's been slowly growing, but
Okay.
I think now with all of the market prices, you know, going up and pretty much, I mean, the Bay Area, you really can't afford anything under $1 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if people are making anywhere between 100 to 200,000, that's a good income.
Right.
But for the Bay Area, you're still in poverty.
Yeah, you're still broke, right? Yeah. It's just pretty crazy, though.
Yes. Yeah. So in the Central Valley, I mean, you're, you know, pretty much high income. You're probably in the few 1%.
Yeah, you're balling, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned Newman, right? So when you left Mexico, did you go straight to Newman, or did you guys go somewhere before?
I did.
Okay.
I did. So we actually came into Newman, and I was raised there pretty much. So I was actually raised in Crow's Landing, which is an even smaller town. There's like 300 population there.
300?
Yes.
So everybody knows everybody there.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we were out in the country, so I was pretty much a tomboy growing up, and you wouldn't think
a lot
about
of
that.
ranch there out in the country.
Yes. A lot of agriculture.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that California is mainly agriculture.
Correct.
You know, because you have big cities like pockets of cities like the Bay Area, San Diego, LA, and Sacramento. But other than that, the rest of California is agriculture,
correct.
right? So in Mexico, did you live in a city or did you live in a town? Or
it was a small town.
Okay,
so that's probably why I adapted so well to like Newman.
Yeah,
it was probably about the same population.
What's exciting out there?
In where?
Newman.
Nothing.
I was about to say that.
300 people. What can we do
Going to
here?
Pizza Plus. Which is a restaurant in Newman.
Yeah, that was the popping
Nothing.
thing to do,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
But yeah, so I guess like, you know, going from Mexico to the small town in California, it wasn't a big transition for you. It was kind of very similar.
Very similar. Obviously, you had to adapt to the language.
Okay.
I mean, you know, my primary language was Spanish at
Yes.
that point, so adapting to it. But I mean, as a child, you're a sponge and
Yeah.
you kind of adapt to it well.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was such a big transition. I really didn't know. I mean, plus I was with my family,
Right.
so it's not like I knew anything different.
Right. Did you have a big family?
Yes. So there's 8 of us. So
8,
we have
okay.
4 brothers, 3 sisters.
Okay. So 4 brothers, 3 sisters.
Yes.
And so there's basically 4 girls and 4 boys?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
what was that like growing up with 4 boys and 4 girls? Were the boys older, younger, girls
They're
older, younger?
older, so I'm the baby of the family.
Oh, the
So,
baby.
yeah. So one
Okay.
of the things though is kind of like my sister could have been my mom.
Wow.
That's how, you know, the
Yeah,
age
the gap,
difference
yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
I was the baby, spoiled. I mean, you know, pretty much got what I wanted. So it was nice growing up with a big family though.
Yeah. And then, so is your family still in the Newman area, or are they
Yes.
kind of spread out? Okay.
Yes, all of my family is in the Newman area, and then I still have one sister that is in Guadalajara,
Okay.
and she resides out there. Other than that, my whole entire family is around me.
Okay. So how did that sister, did she stay in Mexico? Or did she come into UNES and then go back, or?
So we all actually migrated here into the United
Okay.
States, and then she ended up at 22 marry somebody from the government out in Mexico.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay.
So she's balling out
Yeah,
there.
exactly, right?
Probably a lot more than
Yeah.
we are out here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she ended up going back to Guadalajara, raised her family, and then she's still out there, and my nephews, and you know, they're out there as well.
Yeah. You made a good point, because, you know, a lot of people think that Mexicans are just poor and they just want to do this and all that, because the Mexicans that come here, obviously they're looking for opportunity.
Yes.
Because in Mexico, they don't have the best opportunity.
Correct.
But if you know, like the Mexicans that are doing well in Mexico are actually doing very well, and
Oh,
they don't
yes.
have to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So I guess talk a little bit about that, because you said your sister married somebody that was in politics, you said?
They're in politics.
Okay, so the politicians are pretty much the most powerful people in Mexico,
Yes.
right?
They are the power.
Yeah. So can you describe, just for the listeners out there that think Mexicans are just, you know, whatever they see here, talk about the successful politicians, or like what your sister's life is kind of like in Mexico.
So her life, when we were here, is we've always been from labor workers, right?
Yeah.
Farm workers.
Yeah.
That's what my parents came here. And they migrated to the United States for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in a small town where they were pretty much raised in poverty.
Right.
My parents were from a rancho. So at that point, I mean, they're out in the cuts. They don't have any electricity. They don't have any running water. They have to go down to the river. So in order for them to migrate to the United States was to make a better living for their children.
Right. Yes.
So once we came out here, we adapted to, you know, society in
Yeah.
the United States.
Americanized.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now it's hard for us to go back.
Yeah.
But since my sister came at an older age, she was already about 15, maybe between 15 and 17. She came out here, she couldn't really adapt
Right.
as well.
She was already
She
very
was
Mexican.
yes. So
Okay.
then now she ended up meeting her husband here,
Oh.
and he ends up having businesses and in politics, and I mean the society that they're in over there, it's a totally different high society.
Yeah.
And who you know, it's really
Yeah.
what you know. You associate.
I watched Narcos.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I love
Not really.
Narcos.
Yeah.
The A-list,
Exactly.
A-listers.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much for
Yeah,
the podcast.
exactly. Like, what happened to Maria? She just disappeared. I don't know, right?
Exactly. Or she's running it.
Oh,
They're like,
boss
"What do you mean?
lady.
The boss
put my
lady.
face
Yeah, boss lady.
No,
Yeah,
so the society out there is if you're in the high
Yeah.
class society, you're living the wealthy life.
Yeah.
They have a 3-story house. The top story is all the gym, a sauna.
Wow.
They have
Wow.
drivers. I mean, they own businesses. So, I mean, their life out there, it would be something out of like a movie here.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
So they get to travel. They're all over the world. I mean, it's something that they don't need to leave
Yeah.
that type of world
course.
in order for them to find a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
They're comfortable where they're at.
Yeah. And so I know a little bit about that because my father is from Mexico. My father's from a little pueblo. It's called Tierra Nueva. It's for about 45 minutes outside of San Luis. But if you go to San Luis Potosí, I felt like I was in San Jose.
Yeah.
Like there's Walmart, Costco, everyone's driving Mercedes. I'm like,
Yes.
you feel like you're in the Bay Area, except everybody speaks Spanish.
Correct.
And I'm just like, wait a minute. But then you drive 45 minutes to my dad's little pueblo, and people are still on horses, and like the roads are not even paved. Like, and it's crazy. But like you said, you know, in a small town, you either own a business. There's no jobs. Like, there's no Apple Corporation. It's like, if you have a job, you're either working hard on the farm or you're breaking rocks, making like $7 a day.
Yes.
So $7 an hour is like 8 times more than you're making in Mexico, right? So those people will come here for a better opportunity for their family. Because, you know, for us, we may think, oh, $7 an hour, that's nothing. You can't live off of that. But for them, you know, to come here and make 8 times what they're making in Mexico and then send money back to their family, that's a good thing, right? Yeah. But I want people to understand, too, there's Mexicans that are very successful, very wealthy, and they don't need to leave Mexico. Like, they have a beautiful life there.
The ones that are leaving their countries and trying to get a better life are the ones that are in poverty.
Right.
And the ones that are, you know, pretty much if you don't work for somebody, you're going to die.
Exactly,
I mean,
right.
if you don't go and grow your own vegetables or kill your own animals, then you're pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So what they do is they'll rather sacrifice, leave everything behind for a better future for their, you know, children.
And I'm grateful for that, too, because, you know, obviously both of our parents left Mexico. You know, my father, well, in the town, they were okay. They weren't like, you know, super poor, but him and his brothers wanted something better, right? So they all left for the United States, and this is like in the 70s. So like, in the 70s, it was pretty easy, right? You know what I mean? It's a funny story. I don't know if this is true, but my uncle said, because he was illegal in the 70s, working in the passport office, stamping passports, and he didn't even have one, right? He's like, approved, and he's like, we're like, I don't even have one of these passports, you know? But
everybody's approved.
Estrada, approved, right? Gonzalez, approved. Medina, approved, right? White?
Nope.
Check that one out, right? Yeah, just kidding, right?
In California?
Yeah.
Where was he working at?
He was working here.
Here?
I don't know exactly here, but yeah, it's California, Bay Area, California. So anyways, just funny stories of, you know, before like 9/11 is what kind of changed everything, right? And all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that real quick because, you know, I want people to understand out there that there's, you know, it's not just all what they see. And this is not a political podcast, and I don't like to get into politics, but there's a lot of stuff going on, like a lot of division, a lot of demonizing, you know, immigrants and stuff like that. And it's just ridiculous because, you know, like. And
they don't realize that, you know, we're all human, right?
Yeah.
So we all want a better future.
Exactly.
And luckily, they were blessed enough to be born in the United States. That doesn't mean that other people are going to come here to try to take anything away from them.
Exactly.
So that's where a lot of people, I think, get met, you know, that wrong. But I mean, we are all here to try to make a better living for everyone that we are in contact with.
Yeah, there's more for everybody. Abundance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the truth, but immigrants, they mop up Americans left and right.
Correct.
Like, I mean, Americans born here, raised here, you kind of, not all, I'm not saying all, but most of the time, an immigrant will take an opportunity and they will take full advantage of that opportunity. Whereas an American, I'm Mexican American, I was born here, I'm first generation, right? So for me, like the way I saw my father was like whatever it took, hard worker, no excuses.
But that's only because they have no way to fail. They have to succeed.
Yeah.
It's a must.
They go back,
Yeah.
right? So here we have a lot of escape.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to escape something that they probably are skilled to do. They just choose not to do it out of fear.
Out of fear. They call I don't want to get on this big rant because I always talk about the middle class mentality, right? But it's the thing where it does, like, you're not so poor that you don't have that drive where like I don't want to go back to being poor. But you're not so wealthy where like you're, you know, like the politicians in Mexico where they make a phone call, oh, mijo, you want a job? Okay, my friend's the CEO of this company, you're the VP now. You know what I mean? So you don't have that kind of connection, but you don't have the drive of someone that came from third world poverty. So you're just kind of comfortable, you know, and the comfort kind of kills dreams and kills success, right? So
and they're afraid of change.
Afraid of change or whatever. So I'm not saying all people are like that, but I see that all the time in like business and stuff, and just my own father, like immigrants do so they are an asset to this country, right? So you're actually an immigrant, and I'm the son of an immigrant, so which it's pretty
I'm
awesome.
an immigrant.
And she's an immigrant.
I just forgot I was an immigrant because I came here when I was 10 years old, and my mom works really hard. And then now I'm much older now. I'm starting remembering, oh my God, where I came from. You know, like you said, the middle class mentality. I'm not poor. I'm not rich. I'm like in the middle. So in a way, I've been taking it easy, pretty
Yes.
much, not taking advantage of
Yeah.
a lot of things.
So
Yes.
I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change your mindset. For
I already have, actually.
She already tells me
Already-
I annoy her sometimes, but I'm like,
You
I'll
already
annoy you
have.
if it makes you better. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? You know, I'll be
exactly.
that person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Annoying big brother.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
But
I know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud that my podcast like is built like pretty much I'm the only non-immigrant on the team.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Take 'em out.
Well,
yeah.
well, he's an immigrant.
Yeah.
Syria.
Our editor Hatem's from Syria.
Dionn Renee, she's American.
Yeah, and they all have amazing stories. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So actually, I want to ask you this because I asked Joe and I asked Hatem and I asked every person that
Right.
immigrated. I said, so you were how old were you when you came here?
6.
6. So you're a 6-year-old Mexican girl leaving Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
going to the United States, not knowing what it was going to be like. What were your thoughts of what the U.S. was going to be like?
At that point, I think everybody wanted to come to the United States. It's just that dream of everyone that lives in Mexico and they live in poverty and they want to change. They have that hope and that dream. Like
Yeah.
America is going to be everything that we're not here.
Yeah.
So you have this big dream, kind of like a superhero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the United States is a superhero for a lot of kids
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
lot of adults thinking that, you know what, as soon as you step foot into the United States, all this money's going to come down
Yeah.
at you. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
there's no worries in the world and everybody seems happy, you know.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is that America is a me country.
Yeah.
They're very stuck on being selfish and being about themselves instead of caring for others. And
Right.
not everyone again. But the expectation that I had coming in was I thought everything was beautiful.
Yeah.
I just felt like, oh my gosh, like the clothes are so cheap, and we were going to yard sales, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, people could get something for. I mean, mind you, I'm probably way older than all of you guys, but
Maybe not
25
me.
cents,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
But
think we're the
25
same age.
cents
Yeah.
shirts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just thought like, wow, that's pretty good, and it's good shirts. When to me that was brand new,
Yeah.
and to other people they're stuck in material and stuck on new.
Yeah.
So to them it's kind of like, no, I need all
Yeah.
brands. To me, I was just happy that I got a shirt.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah,
I got a
sure.
shirt.
Exactly.
I didn't have to wear my sister's shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of it is that where you do have to share.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has to be like hand-me-downs,
Yeah.
big family.
Yeah, so like, because the funny thing is when I asked Joe, I said, she said, I thought it was going to be cold and lots of chocolate.
Like snow. Snow
Yeah.
and lots of chocolates.
And then I asked Hatem and he said, I thought there was going to be all brand new cars, like nobody poor.
No homeless
Yeah,
No
people.
homeless
see,
people?
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he saw homeless people, he was shocked
Yes.
because there's
Yeah.
no homeless people in Syria.
Correct.
Like Syria's a third world country and it's, it's going through some stuff right now, but there's no homeless people
Yeah.
there. It's crazy, right?
Yes. So I think that expectation, you always have it, right? Growing up in a
Yeah.
different
It's from the
country.
movies.
Yes.
It's the movies.
The movies. And I think a lot of it also has to be where people come back and they tell you stories.
Yeah.
And they maybe tell you stories to not scare you, like
Yeah.
what they really do in the United States.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they're like movie stars and they're working in the fields.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, Mija, you don't know how much lettuce I picked today. It was amazing. I got
Exactly.
the lettuce award, right?
Yes.
No, just kidding. But yeah, so now you're in Newman. You're growing up. What was it like growing up in Newman? Like,
It's a small town. Everybody knows each other. I loved it. Had a lot of friends. I mean, pretty much it's your family, your classmates. There was probably like a classmates of 60.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. So you knew everyone growing up, and the classes didn't change. So it's like here you have 7 periods.
Yeah.
There you're just the same people are coming in.
yeah, you're like, oh hey, what's up? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're like kindergarten to 5th grade, it's the same class.
You grew up together, pretty
And
much.
you had like 3 classrooms for
Wow.
all the students.
Yeah.
So we really generally loved each other.
Yeah.
And I still see that in a
nice.
lot of our classmates. We still communicate. I still have a lot of them on social media. We see each other and it's like brother and sisters.
It's like an extended family,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Were you the class clown? at all?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Who were you in class?
I was a little bully.
You were a bully. How long you been
Like,
the
who
boss
got
lady?
beat up by Lupe Medina?
I know,
Yeah.
for life. She
Yeah.
asked me, how long have you been the boss lady?
Yeah, before you became the boss lady for Just Life Financial, how long you been the boss lady? Like, at what age did you have that in you?
I think since, so it probably comes back, like Isaac was talking about it earlier, it comes back to subconsciously, I think you just had to do that. So when I was in Mexico, one of the things is my parents actually left us in Mexico. So when we actually stayed out there, you have to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
So we were with my older sister, And they came over here. They worked over here. I didn't see my parents for like 3 years.
Wow.
So that's probably where the mentality comes in.
How old were you when you didn't see them for 3 years?
Well, they left me at the age of like maybe 1.5.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So you did kind of grow up on your own.
Yeah. And I think that's where you get that mentality
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah.
kind of have to fend for yourself.
Right.
So was it your older
Makes sense.
sister that was kind of like your mom?
Yes, so I have one older sister, and she was pretty much raising all of the kids while
Okay.
my parents came over here, migrated, kind of worked, got the money together,
Yeah.
sent money back to Mexico, make sure that we were, eating and
Yeah.
dressed and going to school. So the public schools down there, they actually don't have any public schools.
Oh,
So you have to pay for schooling.
wow.
And you have to pay for your lunch. So they don't feed you. If your parents don't take you food, you don't eat.
Dang.
So that's pretty much how that goes. So I know that the sacrifice that they did probably built that confidence and that mentality that as an adult you now have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of had to grow up a lot faster than maybe someone that maybe had everything just there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it ended up being a good thing. You
Yes.
know, a lot of times they say all the adversities, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It actually makes you more mentally tough, which also makes you successful.
Right.
Because success is mental toughness. When mental toughness meets opportunity, that equals success, right?
Yes.
You have to be tough because I mean, we'll talk about your business in a minute, but as you know, and I know, we're both kind of entrepreneurs, and we know that people think like a job is difficult. I mean, a job is easy, or the job is easy or difficult, but entrepreneur, that's like the wild, wild west.
Yes.
Like there's nobody helping you. There's
Correct.
nobody telling you this. Like you have to do
Correct.
it, and if you don't do it, you don't do it.
And
like
you learn by your
You
mistakes.
don't get paid.
yeah. Thank you for saying that because you reminded me. So in school, like we're trained from young to be employees. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yes.
You show up, the bell rings, you sit down.
Yes.
The bell rings, you go to lunch.
Yes.
The bell rings, you come back. The bell rings, you take a little break. The bell rings, they send you home. And in school, you can't mess up. What
Correct.
happens? You get a bad grade.
Correct.
You fail the class. At a job, you can't mess up. You get written up, you get fired. In business, that's how you learn.
Yes.
You screw it all up.
Quick.
Yeah. And so a lot of times if and I had to break for that employee mold too, because we're it's not our fault. We're programmed since little kids, like to
Yes.
be employees. Right. But, it's the constant struggle between, the employee mindset is like you wait for things to happen, and the entrepreneur is like, I'm going to go make it happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I can't wait. I can't do it. I had to put all this work in. So, I think that kind of helped you, with your upbringing. And then, so, I mean, I know you have a family. Tell us a little about your family, like your family in Newman. You have some kids and all that.
So I have 4 children. Well,
Okay.
they're not children anymore. But my oldest is 26.
Okay.
So he's 26 years old, an amazing kid.
Okay.
Then I have a 21-year-old. She goes to UC Davis.
Wow.
So she ended up picking up the college,
Yeah.
following.
And nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that I always tell my children is either you work or you go to school, you get an education.
Right.
So you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You have to do something at a young age. They're always taught to do that.
You guys hear that out there? You either work
Yep.
or you get an education. You can't just sit on your butt and play video games.
Correct.
Yes, okay,
Yes. And
yeah.
there's a lot of, young adults that choose that route.
Yeah.
And because their parents enable them, though, to do
Yeah.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a 19-year-old. And he recently just got out of high school,
Okay.
and he's still trying to figure out his way in life.
Yeah.
And it's tough,
Yeah.
when the school's telling you what to do your whole life, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's like, okay, you're be an adult.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
So
like,
it's like,
what?
how do you do that,
Yeah.
right? And then I have a 17-year-old, and her attitude, mentality, I would say that it's like 80% of me.
So that's the little carbon copy.
Yes.
The little boss lady.
Yes. Yeah. So she is 17 years old, and she works with me now. So I've
Works
been,
with you,
yeah,
okay.
I've been pretty much molding
Yeah.
her since she was a baby on everything that I do. So eventually one day, not necessarily her, but somebody could take over the family business.
But she has a choice, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you see her as the one that probably has the most potential to take over the family
Yes.
business.
She's
Yeah.
definitely an entrepreneur mindset.
So that's Boss Lady Junior.
Oh, yes.
She's
Well, no,
she's
we
the
call
boss
her-
baby.
No, we call her the boss.
The,
boss. Oh, okay.
boss. Love
There you
that.
go.
17. Okay.
And,
Yes.
and a lot of times I don't know if this is Latin parents or just all parents in general, but they always try to force what worked for them onto their kids.
Correct.
And that's that's not what you should do, right? Like I learned, obviously I'm not saying my parents were great parents, but a lot of times they say, oh, do this because maybe it worked for them, or that's what they think works, but it not always necessarily is going to work for them.
Correct.
But what I hear from you is that you're not forcing your beliefs on them. You're saying this is what it takes to be successful. And if you're not going to follow this, and you do this,
Correct.
You're not going to do nothing,
Correct.
right? But you're not like, oh, I was boss lady, so you have to be in my business, and you have to do all that.
One of the things about being a parent, and I was a young parent, you know, and I mean, obviously, you know, my husband, so we've been married for 27 years.
Wow.
He's an amazing father. He's not an entrepreneur by all means.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for him to adapt into that mentality.
Yeah.
So one of the things about him is that he was able to stay at home while I ran the business.
There you go.
So he was an amazing father. At least he was there for the kids. He was there to make sure to do everything. And he pretty much helps me out around the house. He does, you know, a lot more than probably needs to be done. But with the kids in mind, we've never said anything about, you know, like if they wanted to start a business, you know what, that's amazing. Let's go ahead and find out how we could get that going. We'll support you 100%. Although I knew that it's probably not going to do anything, or I'm sure that we're going to buy you $1,000 worth of stuff and you're never going to do anything.
Right, yeah.
You know, but it's always supporting them and making sure that they have their own mind and their ways in life.
I love
I
that.
don't want to ever tell them like you need to go into finances, because what if that's not their passion? I'm going to pretty much make them do something that they're never going to be happy doing.
Yeah. And I appreciate that because, again, I love my parents. They're great parents. But I think a lot of the boomers were trained to kind of force their kids to do whatever they felt was best.
Yes.
And I found myself one day living a life to please my parents.
Correct.
Not to live the life that pleased me.
Yes.
And that was a very sad, like scary realization.
Right. And you're unhappy.
Yeah.
And your soul knows it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Miserable.
I'm really like, not religion, but I'm very spiritual.
Me too.
And I always
Yeah.
feel that, you know,
Yeah.
your soul tells you where
Yeah.
you need to be in life.
Yeah.
And if not, your soul will really start haunting you
Yeah.
every single day until you start doing something that you love.
100%.
If you don't feel good, you don't feel
Exactly.
good. Yeah.
And it's funny because we do have the guide.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
it's called
Your
your
feelings.
intuition. It's like
Yes.
guardian angel,
Yes.
intuition, whatever. And so that's the main purpose of this podcast is I want to inspire people who, like, if you're sitting out there and you're listening to this and you hate what you're doing, and the statistic is 87% of people don't like their job and 10% of people hate their job.
Yes.
So that's 97% of people out there do not like what they're
Right.
doing. So there's a problem.
Yes.
Right. And so our goal is to inspire people, no matter how young, no matter how old. You know, hopefully someone listens to this podcast and they go, wow, maybe I should start to dig deep and really find what I'm supposed to do and just go do it. It's
Yes.
not going to be easy.
Correct.
Right. But nothing's easy.
Right.
Right. Like, you know, having a job is hard. Having a business is hard. Being
You'll
broke is
never
hard.
find out
Being
if
rich
you
is
don't
hard.
try.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I appreciate you saying that because, you know, the whole goal is this. And that's why we wanted to have you on, is because I know that you're following your purpose. Because if you're not, it feels like you're going on a bumpy road, like you're going against the grain. Like
Yes.
everything is against you.
Yes.
Right. But if you are on your purpose, everything is just like smooth.
Yes.
It's not easy, by the way. There's going to be adversity, but it's a lot easier
Yes.
than, you know, it's like you go from a bumpy road to a paved road. Something like that, right? There's
Yes.
still going to be danger. There's still going to be things you got to worry
I'm
about.
on a
But
slide now.
there you go.
Slide, cruise control.
So she went off the road. She went on the slide,
Exactly.
right? That's why she bought that house, right? The
faster.
big old slide, right?
In a Maserati.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So let's
heard
talk.
about that.
Let's talk about that now because I know that you're a very successful entrepreneur, businesswoman, California boss lady, right? Tell us about your business. How did it start? Because I know you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So
So I'll go back a little bit, you know, before the business actually started. So I always knew that I was meant to be doing more in life. So I just kind of had that feeling, right? So
Okay.
it's a feeling that you just have every single day of your life. And I'm sure a lot of people out there have the same. The only thing is that they're afraid of what other people are going to say about that.
Exactly.
They're afraid of their own self. What if I do become successful?
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
Or what if I don't and I'm going to, you know, look like
Look
a failure
silly,
to everybody
yeah.
else? But if you don't start, you're never going to get there.
Exactly.
And one of the things about me is that I've never, ever, ever part of it has to do with, like I said, my upbringing, but I've never liked anyone telling me anything of how to direct my life.
Yeah.
I've never liked the teachers, sit down, raise your hand, ask for the question's not right, and you're looking at them like, what the heck do you know? You're going off of a book.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even real life.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And their life is probably a little bit more messed up than any other life right out there.
Yeah.
So when I was a freshman, I actually dropped out of high school.
Okay.
And I never wanted to go back to school.
Okay.
I just felt like that's not where I need to be. That wasn't my purpose. Ended up getting a job, got my own apartment. I was 14, I was 15 years old 14 and a half. And I just continued to do what I wanted to do every single day thereafter. So my business kind of came from that, because I was thinking like, okay, great. Like, nobody's going to hire me. I don't have a GED. I don't have a high school diploma. What am I going to do with my life? Now I think I need to go back. So then everywhere that I ended up getting an opportunity or a job was because I really went in there and I bugged all of the supervisors and the managers. Like, I really need this. And let me just teach you that I could do this.
Right.
So I started working at a distribution center in Tracy, and I was just a clerk. And I say just a clerk because, anybody could have done that data entry, right? Anybody that they get off the streets, but you need a degree. So I kept thinking to myself, like, really? Like, anybody could do this? And you're expecting for me to go to school, get in debt, do all of this other stuff. So I went up to one of the managers and I said, hey, listen, so this job that I'm doing now, it's not fulfilling what I want to do. Like, it's just really meaningless. I don't feel like I'm doing any purpose for the company or for my life. I get a paycheck and that's it. So he said, hey, listen, so there's a lot of openings, but the problem is that you don't have a degree, let alone a high school diploma.
Right.
So we can't put you in that area. And I said, okay, so is that what's, a piece of paper is what's going to stop me from doing that and your company to succeed because I don't have a piece of paper? So he kind of looked at me and I left, and I was upset because, of course, I always get what I want. And I just figured, like, man, he really just turned me down because of this.
And he's probably
then,
you're kind of right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so then I went back to him the next day and I said, hey, his name was Jason. And I said, hey, Jason, listen, I tell you what, you could pay me exactly what I get paid now if you give me the opportunity and go into that distribution center, show you that I can do that job, what everybody else has a master's doing. And if I don't fulfill what you need in 3 months, you could put me back down as a clerk, but at the same pay. You could pay me for 3 months exactly the same. So he ended up saying, hey, you know what? I'm shorthanded. Let's go ahead and give you a try. I was 22 years old at this age and thinking like, grown as men doing transportation.
Yeah.
So then I went in a month after. He came in and he said, you know what, Maria, you're doing a lot more than any of these guys are doing here. And the men here respect you a lot more. And there was 450 drivers that I was managing at that time.
Wow.
So a lot of it at that, so from there was a girl that, started doing home loans, and that's how my career started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then she said, hey, listen, so how about we do this together? We'll commute to Sacramento. And mind you, it was 2 hours.
Wow. Sacramento.
Yes. But, I'll teach you everything there is about home loans, and you get to do your own hours.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about being young, though.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yep, I was sold. At that time, I had already 4 children under the age of 8.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what?
Happen.
And transportation, it was rotating shifts. It was 7 days a week.
Wow.
I was working. I was making 6 figures.
Yeah.
At 22-year-old making 6
that's
figures.
Really good.
That's really good.
Especially in 1950. That's pretty good.
Exactly.
What?
Just kidding.
Excuse me? Wow.
I was a millionaire.
Just kidding out there. It wasn't 1950. We joke around with each other.
He just says that because I look super old.
You do not look old.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah.
He got me back for a little comment that I said earlier.
Oh.
Anyway,
let me get back to my feelings here. You just totally distracted me.
I'm sorry. That's my job. Right?
Okay. To see how good I am going forward.
To keep it interesting,
exactly.
right?
Let me unplug your mic. You'll never get
so
another word.
Okay, so you're in Sacramento.
So we're in Sacramento, driving, doing all this other stuff. Life was amazing. I was making $30,000 a month.
Wow.
Bought my house, bought my vehicles cash. We ended up putting a brand new construction home, ended up putting porcelain tile.
Wow.
Why the heck do I need that? Who knows? But
Whatever.
I had the money.
Yeah,
I
you
did,
could.
right?
Because you could, right?
Yes.
Because you're the boss lady, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then the little recession happened in 2008.
2008, right? Yeah.
2009. everything pretty much went bankrupt. I, including myself, right, ended up going into a foreclosure, ended up getting everything repoed. I mean, that was the most devastating part of life itself, because at that age is how do you go from being, you know, having all of this money, doing all of this stuff, to one day not having anything, and then trying to figure out how you're going to feed your children at the end of the day. Especially
having a family.
Yes.
Because I went through the same thing, but I didn't have a family. I mean, I can't imagine like having a family, and then like I agree with you 100%. I went through, it's so funny, we're so similar.
Yes.
Because I would always talk back to my teachers. You know, I got fired and rehired from a job the same day twice.
What the?
Because I told my boss off. And then the district manager's like, well, that's leadership. You don't fire him for that. And I got rehired twice.
What?
Yeah. And I was in real estate, and I was making all this money. Had 4 homes. I was married. I was like, I went from mama, I made it, to mama, can I move back into the house? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, tell us about that, because it was probably even tougher with the family. But
it was really tough.
Yeah.
And being the person that I was at that point, that I thought I was, right, has really, really made me to who I am now.
Yes.
So I thought I had everything figured out at that point. I thought, you know what? This is life. This is why I came to the United States.
Yeah.
This is why people, you know, migrate into the United States. I thought life was good. We were making money. We were traveling. My kids were going to school. I mean, everything was great until I hit rock bottom.
Right.
Now, at that point, it's kind of like, how do you dig yourself out of that hole?
And it takes a special person to do that. Because, you know, but it's funny. And I want to go back to a few things, because you said you always had the feeling of wanting to do more.
Yes.
You said you hated being told what to do. So what that tells me is you were a leader. Now, I don't know if you were born with that, because leadership is one of the most rare things in the world, like a true leader. And, you know, you also said something about family pressure, because they say most people don't succeed because of what you said. Like everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to start a business. Everybody wants to follow their dreams. But then, oh, what are my parents going to say?
Exactly.
What are my friends going to say?
Yes.
What if I fail? You know, but it takes a special type of individual to say, well, I don't give a shit what they say. I'm going to do it because this is me. This is who I am. I believe in myself.
Yes.
So you had a lot of self-belief.
Yes.
Do you know where that came from? Was that always in you? Was it from the Mexico times? Where do you think that was from?
Actually, I don't know where it came from, but it was always trying to prove. And it wasn't to prove anyone. It was to prove myself.
Okay.
That this is like, wow, like I really just dropped out of high school, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, now I have to prove to myself that I could do something else.
Yeah. You're like, oh,
I don't need
really
that certificate. I don't need it, you
Yeah.
know? So I think it's the pressure that you have with yourself to prove yourself that you're worthy. So how come all these people make all this money? And it's not about the money, right? It's about the freedom that you get behind that.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
So, you know, to me, it's kind of the money just really gravitates to everything that you want to do. And I'm a people person. So I really serve to really help others.
So let's talk about that, because people skills is something very, very, also very rare, you know? My father had great people skills, and he said he got it from having to manage his mom's little tiendita, his store, at a very young age, because he's always having to deal with different types of people and interact and sell stuff. Do you know if there's anything from your upbringing that made you a people person? Were you always charismatic? Was it being the baby of the family? What do you think
I
it
think
was?
it probably has to do with a lot of the parenting. My mom is extremely optimistic, very positive person. Doesn't like really say anything about anybody, doesn't gossip about anyone. If I would get in a fight or if I would say something, she would say, ay, pobrecita, like just leave them alone. Like seriously, like they have fault too, you know?
What?
Like,
they hit me first.
Exactly.
She doesn't even entertain that type of energy,
none,
basically.
none at all.
It's unproductive.
None at all. So I think that the people skills came from her, seeing her interact with others, and just the energy attraction that she had. The people just go to her, and they are really attracted to her vibes. So I think it had a lot to do with that.
That's
Another
awesome.
thing is, since they were labor workers, farm workers, I had to put on that mentality where I had to help them out now.
Yeah.
So they don't know the English language.
Right.
So here I am, young, 8, 9
years
years
old,
old. and translating for them, filling
Yeah.
out documents
Yeah.
for them. Like, what do you know at that age?
Do you know who Felipe Esparza is, the comedian?
No.
He talks about that.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I could barely speak English, and now I'm a
Exactly.
translator filling out papers.
You
and all
would be
that.
surprised. I was
Yeah.
like 6 years old, and okay, you already know your ABCs. Get in there. Like, what the heck? How do I do this?
Yes, you're like 8 years old signing legal
What's a
documents.
medical insurance card?
Wow.
Yes.
But it's funny because, like, so I love how you talked about your mom, because that's how my father was.
Mm-hmm.
My father was always super positive, always super confident. Like, just, I mean, like you said, we'd go in a room and then, like, so my dad's 5'8", Mexican,
Yeah.
like 5'8", brown eyes, brown skin. You look at him and you're like, okay. But he can walk in a room of all mixed personalities, all gringos in the 70s. When he leaves, they all love him.
Yes.
They're like, Jesse, oh my God, you're so funny.
Yes.
And we used to be like, how does my dad do that? We'd go to restaurants and then the waiter would just be like, you know what? I like you. We have a discount. You're getting 20% off.
Yes.
We're like, huh?
Yes.
Like, how did my dad? But it was the energy. It
Yes.
was the positivity.
Yes.
Yeah. And so,
And just genuinely caring for people.
yeah.
And I think you know the difference.
Yes,
So
definitely.
you know the difference if somebody truly cares about what you're saying, if they're listening, not just hearing, right? If they're really listening, if you really care about what they're going through in life.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with that, and that's why I believe I probably adapted that from her.
Okay. And then, so how was your dad like?
My dad was more of the stern type, but he was also a very loving dad.
Okay.
So he just loved, right?
Yeah.
And I think having both of them as parents just really taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, they work 24/7, 7 days. I mean, you're in the fields.
Yeah, of course.
And, minimum wage.
That's hard work, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
In
I
the
would
fields
see
in
them-
Mexico
and here.
and here too.
So that when they migrated here, that's all they did. I mean, they didn't know the language. So what other job do you do?
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do. My parents never went to they didn't have any education
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah, but they were hard workers, and that's the one thing that is a good trait of being a Mexican is like
Yes.
is hard work.
Yes.
Right. So the only time success comes before hard work is in the dictionary, right? So if you could take that Mexican hard work ethic but
Yes.
apply it to like leadership and people skills
Yes.
and wanting more, well, then you have a California boss lady.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you're starting in real estate. Okay, you're doing well. The market crashes. Now you're like, oh crap.
Oh shit.
How do you
That's
come
what I
out of
really
it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh shit. There you go. Right.
Exactly.
By the way, well, we put this is not for kids, so. cuss is
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
when
not.
that
It's really not. It's really not.
Like in
Yeah.
that case.
Exactly. Oh, I was holding back all the cuss words.
Let it all out.
Yeah.
Let it all out.
Let it all out.
Yes.
But from here, not
So,
that side.
so once we actually hit rock bottom,
Right.
that was a really eye opener.
Yeah.
Because all my family, and I shouldn't say all, the majority of my family was concerned about me leaving a corporate job and going into becoming, at that point, obviously you were self-employed.
Yes.
You weren't running a business. You
No.
just created a job for yourself.
And I'm glad you said that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
So you created a job for yourself, and I was happy doing that. My family, I actually had gone to a lot of my family, and I said, hey, this is what I'm considering doing. The majority said, you know what, you're crazy. Why would you do something like that when you're making already almost 6 figures? At your age, you're going to let that go to go into something that you might not ever succeed.
Right.
So all of my family, and I think that's maybe another way or another why I actually even pushed harder to
Yeah.
do what I do now.
That little chip on your shoulder.
Exactly. It's like, oh, really? You're like my older, brother, my older sister. And I know they were saying it because they cared for me.
Of course.
But
That's an important point, though. Yes.
but it wasn't anything that I was ready to hear
Of course.
because I wanted that support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when family does that, it's out of love.
Correct.
But it's also out of fear.
Yes.
And fear and positivity and success, they don't mix either. You know what I mean? That's what holds you back. But
Yes.
so if you're a strong person and you're driven, you will. So they say successful people, we also have the fear. We're afraid
Oh,
too,
yeah.
but we have courage.
Correct.
What's courage? We'll do it even though we're scared. But that's what holds so many people back from success is that fear is the family pressure.
Yes.
For some reason, I never had that. Like I could cut family off or whoever.
I think that's a trait that you learn to have, though.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes.
And it's not like you're cutting them off. You still
Oh,
love
no,
them.
I'm cutting them off.
You're like, you're done.
Exactly.
You're dead to me, fool.
Oh, you didn't support me then? Okay. You're not supporting me now.
Exactly.
It's
right?
also like a consent thing. You don't, people can have opinions about what you're doing, but if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like
But
you
see,
have
like
a protection.
I don't know how it
you
is in different cultures, but in the Hispanic culture
Mm-hmm.
is you really have to put everybody in consideration, especially
Yeah.
if they're elder, older than you. That's somebody that you have to respect, and you have to pretty much do what they tell you to do.
Right.
Because if not, then a lot of families disown you.
Right.
You didn't follow what we asked that you do, because that's going to protect you in life.
I think
Yeah.
they do that in Filipino culture too.
Really?
But I don't care. I want to follow what I want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And it's
Yeah.
funny because of, they'll hate, and then eventually they're gonna be like,
Well,
oh wow,
once
they're
they
actually
start
doing it.
seeing,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I always knew you could do it. Yeah, that's my daughter. Yeah, I knew she was gonna be. And you're like,
yes.
the heck? Anyways, I got stories about that.
yeah,
Yes.
I showed some of my photographs to my father or my mom, and they're like, "You took that?" I'm like, "Yes, mom, I took that."
Yeah.
Like,
They're
yeah,
like, "Are
I'm
you
a
sure? Where did you
photographer.
take
it
from?"
They're just like, "Oh, wow, that looks good," and because they wanted me to be in the medical field, and
We're Filipino.
I just,
Yeah.
You need to be.
Yeah.
I'm-
Either
I
post
don't
office
wanna-
or a nurse, right?
I don't want to follow what doesn't
I
feel
know.
good to me. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? So I had to learn how to break away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like really follow my bliss.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then in the process of that, you're gonna teach your family something.
Yeah.
So I always talk about breaking generational curses
Mm-hmm.
because every family has them.
Yes.
It could be something like alcoholism. It could be
Yes.
something as simple as being lazy, but you don't even realize it.
Correct.
That's destroying your generations forever.
Yes.
Because that laziness spirit is, or the quitter spirit or whatever it is, right? So when one person comes along like yourself and they always go against the grain, they want more, they don't care, they take the risk, or they take the risk and they go, wow, I didn't think that through, but now I got to do it. So I'm going to do it. Right.
That's run with it.
Yeah. I better run with it because, I got a lot of people saying, I told you so,
Yeah.
you're actually kind of breaking generational curses because now, even if it's not your extended family, it's your kids.
Yes.
Because
And they don't know anything better.
No.
All they know is what I've showed them.
Exactly.
It's not even about teaching them.
Yeah.
I've showed them this is what you need to do, because I'm doing it. I don't have to teach you. I don't have to sit there and tell you how I did it. You're going to see for yourself.
Exactly.
I
And
love
a lot
that.
of times parents think that your kids do what you say. They don't do what you say.
Correct.
They do what you do.
Yes.
So if you're like a smoker and you tell your kids don't smoke and you're over here puffing a pack a day, they're going to end up probably most likely smoking.
Correct.
It's two things. They're either going to do it or they're going to be like, heck no, I don't want to be like my
Right.
parents, right? But if you just show a good example, the kids are just naturally gonna do it. Because like my father, he was the entrepreneur. It's funny because my dad, he came from Mexico and he always knew, I don't know how he knew it or how he got it, but he always wanted to do everything opposite of what the traditional Mexicans would do. So he wanted to learn English, but learn it very good. He wanted to, not have a big, huge family because he knew that it's expensive, right? So he wanted to have a smaller family. I want to have a big family. Nothing wrong with big families, but he kind of understood somehow,
You're
like,
running out of time.
yeah, no, we got plenty of time. Oh, you guys running out of time?
You're running out of time for having a big
Oh,
family.
heck
You
no.
have plenty of
Hey,
time.
didn't Vicente Fernandez have kids till he's like 90?
Just kidding.
I'm going to be like Chente, right?
I'm going to be behind your ear. You're running out of time.
Come on. What the hell is that? You're running out of time.
Ladies, it's actually 36, all right? He's
26.
Not, yeah, 26.
26.
I look and feel
It looks
26.
like 50.
Okay. What was I talking about? You threw me
I
off.
don't know, running out of time. Wait, no, we're not running out of time.
Big families.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
dad.
So-
Your
so-
dad,
so
your
my
dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. But my dad was always different, right? So, and he was kind of like you. Like, I remember my dad would be like, so one day, we used to eat like Twinkies, like bad food, American food,
Yeah.
Mexican food. And then one day we come home and everything is just gone. Like all the fat, all the sweets are gone. All the Kool-Aid is gone. All the manteca is gone. And it's like watered down iced tea and everything's healthy. And I'm like, me and my sister are like, what the heck happened? But we were so young. And when you're young, you have to kind of listen to your
Yes.
parents. We just kind of adapted. So I never got a sweet tooth. That's why it's easy for me to make healthy decisions
Right.
because it started when I was like young, right? If I would have been born with if I would have had these stuff since I was young, like it's kind of sad. Like you see kids in like in elementary school and they're already obese. Like that's kind of sad.
Especially in America.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm. So he changed the diet, but my dad was always an entrepreneur. Like he had a taqueria. So it's funny because my dad used to tease me for being an entrepreneur. Like, go get a real job. Blah, 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 blah. And then my mom goes, Jesus, shut the hell up. He learned it from you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and then I think about it, I go, she's right.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, 0 to 7, when I was being trained, my dad was always an entrepreneur because he didn't have a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Mexico, no degree, you know, immigrant, all this kind of stuff. He was a truck driver at first, and then he had a bunch of crappy old jobs. So he's like, F this, I'm going to start my own business. So he started a taqueria, and he 8 times the business of the taqueria.
Wow.
Because his personality came in there, right, and his cooking. But then he was working 24/7, self-employed. So I know you mentioned that, right? By the way, you guys, if you think you're a business owner and you're self-employed, you're not.
Exactly.
You basically own a job.
Yes.
What does that mean? If you're not there and the business doesn't run, you don't have a business. You have.
Correct.
There's nothing wrong with that, but you're self-employed, right? You can make more money than an employee, but if you're not there, the business doesn't run. That's like real estate, like tax people, stuff like that, right? So my dad was self-employed because he owned a taqueria, but he had to be there, right? Because he was the leader, the man, right? And then he gave it up, and then he did other businesses, like, you know, he did A.L. Williams, and it was funny because he was talking smack about me doing my other business in the beginning, and then I found the A.L. Williams pin. I'm like, Dad, what's this? Yeah. He's like, you know, I kind of, you know, and I'm like, no wonder.
Exactly.
And then like one time I told him, I said, Dad, I said, are you giving me crap because you don't believe I can do it or because you didn't succeed at it?
Good point.
And he like stopped and he's like, well, because I didn't succeed at it. I go, remember when you told me? Because my dad told me, like, because like my dad was always my hero, right? And I was like 13. I'm like, Dad, I'm just like you. And he's like, no. I'm like, no. He's like, I don't want you to be just like me. He's like, if you're just like me, I failed as a father. He's like, I want you to be better than me.
Wow.
And I was like, mind blown, right? So I said, Dad, remember when you told me that you don't want me to be just like you? He said, yeah. I said, so why do you think I'll fail? He goes, you're right. And he never bothered me ever again.
That's super
and
good.
I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yes.
But so anyways, now, so how'd you get out of it? How'd you come out of the ashes from the 2008 crash and get to where you are now? Because now you're thriving. Like your business is thriving. I know you got a bigger office. You're in a big city. You bought this like mansion. You have this probably your dream car, right? So tell us. So maybe there's a lot of people out there that maybe went through that and maybe they're still down. And you know, how did you work your way out of it into the success that you're on now? I mean,
that was one of the darkest times I think in my life, right?
Yeah. For all of us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it had to do with just like, man, I failed. I failed as a mother. I failed as, you know, a human being. I failed as a sister, a daughter. I mean, you name it. That's pretty much how you start feeling. So I ended up getting a little part-time job. Because I only needed Christmas money, you know, that was around the Christmas time when we kind of lost everything. Yeah. I got a little part-time job. Then, of course, the little part-time job that I was supposedly going to get ended up being 8 years later.
Oh, wow.
And I loved the job because I give 100% at everything that I do, whether it's a job, whether it's cleaning toilets, whether it is whatever it is, right?
That's important.
So everything that I do is always 100%. I mean, 114.
Yeah.
If I can.
14.
14.
She didn't say 13, everybody. She said 14.
You know, but anyway. But anyway, it's I always give it my all, and I've just been taught to do that forever. Yeah. So aside from having that full-time job, I still carried my licenses and still continue to do other stuff. I started training myself and I started becoming aware of why did I fail when that recession hit? Wow. What did I do or what could I have done different that I didn't have to lose my house? I didn't have to lose my cars. I didn't need to do that. So I started evaluating me because it wasn't the economy's fault. It wasn't my girlfriend that got me out of my job's fault. It wasn't a blame that I put on anybody else. I put it on myself because I wasn't educated enough for me to have that power of success at that point. Yeah. So I think it was a rude awakening for me to really hit that rock bottom. And it was more a lesson. So it was like a personal lesson. Like I really need to have some personal development. I need to become stronger than I was before. A lot of it was out of spite. Like, I could do this and I could do this and I'm bad and I could, do all of this, which a lot of entrepreneurs have. Like, you're bad, but what the are you showing for, right? You don't have nothing to show for besides what you have in that instance. So if you were to go with a couple of paychecks without a commission or a couple of months without it, how well are you going to do in life?
Right.
And I started evaluating me at that point. So I started studying, and every single day since then, I read 2 hours a day on any material that there is.
That's awesome.
So I read anything on credit, anything on finances, home loans. I know the ins and outs of guides of, refinancing, reverse mortgages. And the reason that I do that is because I never want to feel the way I felt that way or that at that time. So as I was going through this job, it prepared me and it allowed me to have income coming in while I prepared myself in the position that I'm in now.
That's awesome.
So it was never a point that I was, ungrateful for this opportunity or the job that I ended up getting, because I started making really good money as well. Once they saw my resume and what I did, they're kind of like, yeah, you're going to the back, dispatch. I was like, great. Again.
The best dispatcher that place ever had.
And it was a cheese plant.
They're like, who's this crazy lady on the dispatch?
Exactly.
She makes me laugh.
Yep. All the drivers loved me. And we started getting, I even started getting business from there. And supervisors started going to my tax practice. I started doing out of the trunk of my car. Because I didn't have an office.
That's true entrepreneurship right there.
I was walking to work because, mind you, I had no vehicle. So I was walking to work, but I felt like, honestly, like I was $1 million earner. I've never felt that it was something that it was a disgrace to be able to walk or to get, hit that rock bottom, because my vision was a lot bigger than my circumstance at that time.
That's awesome. They say that successful people can lose it all and will always get it back, because it's not what they had, it's who they are. Like, there's been so many millionaires that have failed and lost everything, and then now they're even more successful, right? Because it's about mindset, it's about belief. And you mentioned something, you took 100% accountability. That's very rare. One of the co-founder of my company, my previous company, says, when you take 100% responsibility, the problem goes away. And that's crazy. Like, I never heard that, but it's very true. No matter what happens to you, if you take 100% responsibility, what you do is you give yourself the power to change it. If you blame or say, woe is me, or take victim, you have no power. You just basically lost all your power, right? But you started personally developing, and that's huge, because most people don't do that. Like, most people stop growing at 26, 30, 32, and they stay the same or get worse for the rest of their life. They say you're either growing or you're dying. There's no in between, right? So I just spent almost a decade in an organization that's all about personal development. And they say, like, industries like multi-level marketing, they're very successful, and it's not because of the business, it's because it's all personal development. So people are growing, right? And that's why they're successful, because it's not the business, it's them growing themselves, right? So where did that come from, the personal development? You just thought of it? Did you see something? Did you hear something? How did you get that mindset of, like, I need to do 2 hours a day of personal development?
No, I think it was more just ego. So, like, my ego was, it was at the lowest. It was dark. I was negative.
So
I've
humbled.
never been. So I really, really humbled. It humbled me to get to that point. Because at one point, I think I lost sight. I lost sight of people around me. And it was more about me. I have this. I'm doing this. I'm doing so great. So I never had that ability to, like, coach others so they could also be successful. It was all about me. I didn't care about the rest of the world around me. And I think, obviously I'm a huge, the universe just really brought me down to my knees in order for me to develop me into a different person.
They say FAIL stands for first attempt in learning. And as an entrepreneur, you have to fail. Like, it's not even a failure if you learn something. It's a lesson. There's a quote that says, I either win or I learn. So if you have that mindset, you never failed. You just learned, right? Like, I went through the same exact thing in 2008. 2007, I'm making $400,000 a year. I have my own office in downtown LA. I'm married. I built my own home. I had 3 other homes. I was like, woo!
Exactly.
6 months later, everything's worth half. I am in huge, massive debt. I got involved in something that ended up being a scam. So I ended up getting divorced. My business collapsed. My credit was destroyed. Lost all my houses. Filed bankruptcy. Got a car repoed. Had to move back home with my mom and dad after I was alone since I was only 2, and then my dog dies. So I was like, and that was, so I was like you. For the first time in my life, because I was like that. Like everything was so easy. Like I didn't appreciate anything.
Exactly.
So I needed that smack in the face,
Yes.
like literally like, wake up, buddy.
Yes.
Like you need to start being humble.
Correct.
You're a great person. You're a good person. You can be successful, but you need some humility. And that's what I started to learn from it. I go, oh, so now I need to appreciate things more.
Yes.
Oh, I could lose a lot and I'm still alive.
Correct.
Some people kill themselves over a divorce.
Yes.
I had it all.
Yes.
It's like a country song. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
But
I'm
I
still
think
here.
People in that
you know?
era, I mean, a lot of people did. A lot of
Yeah,
people
it's
didn't.
sad.
They couldn't handle the truth. They
Yeah.
couldn't handle
Yeah.
the truth that it wasn't the economy's fault. It was your fault. You
Yeah.
didn't prepare for it.
Yeah.
So how are you blaming others and then also blaming your family or blaming anything else in regards to that? So you're going to take the easy way out and you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
So now you leave more hurt for everybody else around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
speaking of ego as well, it's a blessing in disguise what happened, and also being humbled. Basically, your higher self like spoke to you,
Yes.
like you need to evaluate what you were doing.
Yes.
And you are infinite value. You are worth more than money,
Yes.
and you have that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Thank you.
She's awesome. See, that's why she's
She
my
could
co-host.
read me.
Yeah, there you go. Right? But yeah, so now you're pulling out of it. You started to personally develop, and then what was the next step after that? Like,
It was just going forward.
Okay.
After that, I set my mindset. I ended up developing a vision board. I mean, a humongous vision board that I knew at that point was like, wow, if I, because at that point it was an if.
Yeah.
That's one of the things at the office that we don't have those words. We don't have if, we don't have don't, we don't I'll try, we don't have can't.
That's good.
Love
That's
that.
something, that's something that they will never say in my office.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that is, if you're going to try, that means you're really not going to do anything.
Yeah, trying
You
is
might
lying,
as
they
well-
say.
Yeah,
I
you
don't-
might as
I
well
don't
say
like that
no,
word.
right?
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
as well, since right now, tell me you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
just tell
try.
them trying is lying.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and they know. They
Yeah.
know.
It's
That's
half-assing it.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that even like to my group or to people that I meet is because I've been through it.
Yeah.
So I always tell everybody, like, don't give advice on something that you have nothing
100%.
to even like talk about.
Yeah.
I personally went through this. It's not that I read about it.
Yeah.
I know how it feels. I know what it tastes like at
Yeah.
even times, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have even food at times.
Yeah.
So I know the growth that you need to do mentally.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't accept that you tell them, you know what, if you do it this way, this is how it's going to end up, but you could do it this way and this is the easy way.
Yeah.
Some people prefer to do it their way because ego, right? Nobody could accept the fact that, well, how do you know, or why are you better than me? It's not that I'm better. It's I've been there and I'm trying to coach you so you don't have to go through the same struggles.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
They say take advice from people who have what you want, because everybody else is just guessing.
Yes.
If you don't want to change trade lives with them, don't listen to them.
Correct.
Right. And so, Erica, I know you've been quiet there, but we were
Hello,
talking about this,
Erica.
right?
Hi.
So, everybody, this is Erica. So, I just want you to talk a little bit, because obviously Maria has been kind of like a mentor to you. You've been working here for about a year. Just talk about a little bit about that, about the things that you've learned from her. Like, did you know about this before? Is it new? Has it helped you in your life?
No. So I was definitely brought into it because she asked me to go ahead and that she needed help around the office, and I was like, okay, I actually come from a different type of field. I always worked like in canneries, and this was a whole different ballpark for me. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do in a financial service, right?
Yeah.
But I went blindsided, and definitely a roller coaster. I was definitely Maria's client, so me doing business with her was very different, or being her assistant.
Right.
And the office is very, very. She's very how do you say it? She's very warming. She's a California boss lady,
Yeah.
We all have vision boards.
Wow.
In our office, we all have vision boards because that's something that we all see. We don't try to be negative. We all lift each other up.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So was vision boards brand new to you at that time? The
yes.
concept? Okay,
so I never knew about vision boards, but every time that I would go into her office, because she
So
did my
can
taxes.
I interrupt really quick?
Sure.
I'm going to say something about Erica, so
Okay.
everybody kind of knows
Yeah.
where she comes from.
Yeah.
Then she could talk, right?
Perfect.
So Erica has been a client of mine, and I kind of seen a lot of her qualities in me.
Oh.
So a lot of what she used to do, like when she was a client, always reminded me of how I was like growing up as a teenager, like very loca, right? That's what we say, just wild, crazy, maybe not educated, just roaming the streets, just doing a lot of things, and not in a negative way because she's a really good person.
Yeah.
But I've always seen that potential in her.
Yeah.
So then when she was my client, she used to sit with me, and we used to do like 30 to half, let's just say, for instance, she was a tax client, and it was a simple form. So technically, it could take me 15 minutes in and out, right? So with all of my clients, what I do is I want to know about them and then how I can make them better, or how in my presence they're going to be a little bit better when they leave the office.
So it's more than just taxes for you.
Correct.
Okay.
To me, it's kind of more developing my client, because I do treat them as family, and I do love my clients, right? So when she was there, I was always about giving her advice, always about talking about her life, talking about, the problems that she was going through in life. So when she used to come in, she used to be like crazy and just slamming doors and be like, hey, I'm here to see the boss lady. And just crazy. But I loved her like spunk and her
energy.
the way, her energy that she just carries herself. But overall, she has a really good heart.
Yes.
So I don't care what she was. My job as the boss is to carry her to what she's going to become.
Yeah.
And that's where I know that my clients will benefit from her.
Yeah.
Once she gets it together, right?
Yeah.
We're still getting it together, guys.
Yeah. So you saw qualities that you had in yourself,
Yes.
and you said, "This is somebody I could see myself mentoring and,
Correct.
and building and growing."
Yes.
So now you got vision boards.
Yeah, we got vision boards in the office. Everybody at the office is vision boards. So very important. So definitely when I joined Maria's team was definitely blindsided. I wasn't aware what I was going to jump into, much less the financial world, right? Because I'm coming from canneries and I'm coming from a dental assistant to being in her office. But definitely Maria is somebody that teaches everybody. She's not just about herself. She's always about everybody that comes into the office as a client.
Yeah.
Definitely family. In the office, we are all, we all lift each other up when we're all down. Because, we all have crazy lives, I guess. That's for our background. I don't know why she chooses. We all have
misfit.
We're all a mess.
The ragtag army right there.
I don't know why I hired them. They have so many issues.
No, we really do.
You're like, they're just like me.
I'm serious. That's probably what it is.
Originally, when I went into the office, I was just going to be there for tax season. Never in my mind thought I was going to be staying there or what I was going to be doing. I was just going to go for the season and then get out and then keep on going with my life, even though I didn't really have.
You didn't know what was going to hit you.
Yeah, I just come from canneries, dental assistant, so I thought that was where I was going to be going into, the medical field. Like, everybody wants to be in the medical field because you think you're successful. But, boy, the financial world is definitely popping.
Yeah.
Definitely, I was
Y'all
like...
hear that? It's popping.
It's
out there.
popping.
Yeah.
No,
Poppin'.
definitely. And it was very eye-opener for me that why settle for something the basic, or why settle what everybody else is doing when you can definitely be doing more.
Yeah.
And that's what she taught me there. Because that's what I learned there, that you don't have to be a dental assistant making what the average that everybody else is making when you could be making 6 figures or more over here, right? Yeah. So definitely was an eye-opener for me working with Maria.
Yeah. And is there any things that your life has been completely changed, not just financially? Do you see that her impact has made an impact in other parts of your life as well?
Definitely. A lot of similar things happened when I was young as well. I didn't have it all. I definitely worked since I was 12. I've been on the field, or I've been in the agriculture, then, making my way up. Yeah. To me, the canneries was where everybody makes money, Right. You work season, you get out, and then you keep going, right? So definitely an impact there where I never saw myself going through, or see myself now, because honestly, right now I would think I'll be working in the season, the tomato company, which is where we're at. So I definitely see myself have grown a lot mentally too, because I definitely didn't have this mindset.
Yeah.
I've always been like, I always want more and do better. I could always do better. But I was going down the different route where it was the basic.
Right.
So definitely joining Maria's team has given me the opportunity to see that there's more to life.
Yeah.
You know, definitely she keeps molding us all into what she already been through.
Yeah.
Because we just jumped into her company when she already went through all the work.
Right.
You know, so that's like another one for her, because that we have a shortcut where she did all the work in.
Yeah. And it's a big deal, because that's a leader. Basically, leaders think about others before they think about themselves, right? And you know, I don't know if she learned some of that stuff from the company that we used to be a part of, but it sounds very similar as far as like pay it forward, create a family, vision boards. It's all just success principles. It doesn't matter where you're from. That works everywhere. And I'm very happy to hear that you're actually now thinking, because it just starts with your belief.
Yes.
Like if you don't know, you don't know, right? And what you don't know can't hurt you.
Correct.
By the way, right? But now you know, now you think bigger, now you want more, and as long as you stick by her side and just hang on to her coattails, you're definitely going to get to where she's going, maybe even your own way, right?
Definitely.
So people out there, if you're listening and watching this, you know, if you want to be part of Maria's team, it's more than just a job. It's more than just a business. You're going to grow all together.
Yes.
Right?
Or you don't belong in a company.
Yeah,
She's very selective. Very
I'm
selective.
very selective with what
she
you
is.
do.
Or you might disappear.
How you should be. Yeah.
Yes,
For sure.
yeah. So
Everyone should be
The
selective.
funny story, though, about Erica is this year. So I brought her on board, and I kind of told her, this is what we need to do. I mean, there's a lot of change personally that you need to do. So, you know, start reading, start mentoring, start getting licenses, start doing, you know, things. And I don't push too much on them, because from coming from somebody that's not having that mentality to somebody that is, it is overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. This is not my realm of business. This is not my passion. I mean, whatever it is, right? So some people, they fear that change.
Yeah.
So this year she actually said, hey, you know what? So the cannery's going to come back up, right? Which, I mean, she's great at what she does. And I kind of looked at her and I said, oh, okay, you want to go back at the cannery? And then she goes, well, no. I'm still going to work here. Like, don't fire me. Like, I love being here, but I'm going to go over there. So then like that, I could get unemployment and, you know, this other stuff. Right. And I looked at her and I said, okay. And then she kind of looked at me like, what the heck? She's not going to even like say anything. Right. So she ended up going the first day orientation. She texts me. She's like, this is hell. Yeah. I'm never doing this again. I quit here.
Yeah.
I never went back.
Yeah.
I love that.
I never went back.
And she just told me like, having conversations with the people there. It wasn't the job. It wasn't that she couldn't do it. Mindset. Is she goes, having the conversation with these people, I cannot believe that's the same mindset that I used to have.
Well, congratulations.
I do not relate to them anymore.
Yeah.
So she just walked out.
That's amazing. And by the way, that's a parenting trick. That's because you have experience as a parent.
Yes.
Only parents will do that. They'll be like, all right, give you enough rope to hang yourself, basically. She gave you enough rope to hang yourself, and then you're like, I'm going back. I don't want this, you know?
I filled out.
Yeah, because a lot of times, you know, the wrong way is like, no, you can't do that. You have to stay here. But then you would have never learned the lesson. You go, you realize, and that's powerful, because you can never go back mindset wise.
Definitely.
Mindset's like stretching a plastic bag. It can't go back. It's not a rubber band. Once you've grown and matured, you can't go back. So you now realize something. It wasn't that you never had the opportunity. It was that you didn't have the mindset.
Exactly.
And now that Maria has given you the mindset and shown you that there's something out there, like, you can't go back. You're like, I don't
and the
want
pay.
this. And the pay, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm making more than what I'm doing here.
And we don't talk small numbers at the office.
Yeah.
That's against the rule.
Yeah. Big numbers.
Yeah. So, you know, the vision for this podcast, and that's why I share a huge vision, is we want to have 250 million subscribers and be the number one podcast in the world. And we are going to be that, right? And I'm going to keep saying that until it happens. But there's nothing small. And I knew when you start something, it has to be big.
Yes.
Because, you know, the words are powerful.
Yes.
The words cast spells. That's why they call it spelling, right? Yes. And I stole that from Paul Hart, so I'm going to give you credit 3 times, because I was told you give him credit 3 times and then it's yours. So Paul, you got 2 more and then it's mine, right? But anyways, you know, life and death is in the tongue. I'm reading this book called Ask and It Is Given.
Abraham Hicks.
Abraham Hicks,
Law of
right?
Attraction.
It's
a
a
good
great
one.
book.
I think
It's
you
a
would
great
like
book.
that.
But
Yes,
it goes
you would
deeper.
definitely
Like, basically, it says we create our own life.
Correct.
Our life should be healthy, happy, and abundant. But then they go, why do people have desires but they don't get it? Because you're blocking it subconsciously.
Yes.
Because you're not matching the vibration of your desire.
Of your desire.
Because you could be like, I want to be a millionaire, but if your vibration's down here, you're never going to do it.
Exactly.
You just have to learn how to raise your vibration. And that happens through personal development, associations, seeing examples, all that kind of stuff.
Healing
right?
your traumas.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
sure.
yes, for sure.
That's a big difference.
Yes.
That's a blockage right there. Yeah.
100%. And so, yeah, that's amazing. So I'm happy for you. And I look forward to seeing where you're going to be in the future, right?
Yeah. And I also call that internal expansion. Once you expanded at a certain level, you can't go back.
Right.
Like, well, it didn't feel good.
I didn't feel
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
I felt out of place. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
It's
So-
super funny because it only lasted like an hour.
it only yeah, and I was like,
Wow.
you
She
know
texted
what?
me
I'm
right
gonna
away.
leave.
I was like, aren't you supposed to be at work?
Yeah.
Don't you have a job?
And also, it just
They let
shows.
you out?
Who's your manager?
It also shows what kind of person you are.
Yes,
Seriously.
definitely.
It's like, wow. It's a blessing for sure.
But I truly, like, I know that they probably don't know, but I truly love, like, my employees.
Yeah, you care about
I
your
want to
people.
go to your office now. Can we go visit?
Yeah,
You need
you
to.
definitely- yeah, you
Everybody's
guys do.
Vision board.
positive. I mean, the whole office is positive, and I
Yeah.
have a saying: is if you're gonna be moody, you get one chance. Second chance, you go home. Third time, you don't need to be in my office.
Yeah,
I will
100%.
not accept,
Boundaries.
Yes, and I
I
will
love
not
that.
accept the bad vibes that you're gonna create, not only with our employees or with your coworkers, but your family, your clients. I mean, me, I'm very big on vibes.
Yeah, you got to protect your energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like the fruit. One rotten fruit in a bowl of good fruit,
Yeah.
the whole bowl is going to be rotten.
Yes.
That's just with bad energy,
True.
right? So Just Life Financial, tell everybody what it's about. Like, I mean, so you started with the taxes. Now, where has it evolved? How did it evolve? Like, tell us
So
tell
we
us that
serve.
story.
The main, I guess, goal for me is to serve people.
Yeah.
I just love, and you're never gonna make any money if you don't serve. And I just now I obviously embedded that in myself, is that serving people will get you fortunes.
Yes.
And by us educating them, so it's more of an education. I mean, clearly anybody could do your home loans, anybody could do your taxes, but to have that relationship with your clients, to have that relationship where, you know what, I'm not going to judge. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you do, how you do it. We're not here to judge anything that you do. If anything, we're trying to protect your assets.
Right.
So you never have to go through what I went through.
Right.
So even if you have a job or if you have a business, we do a lot of business coaching. And the business owners that do come in, they're looking at me like, oh my God, you totally understand my pain. You know what we're going through, right? So I created a company that was actually going to help every single person in any type of realm, whether it be credit, because technically I lost everything, including my credit. So I mean, I damaged my credit to the point where it's, barely, picking up 3 years ago.
Right.
Because I had a foreclosure,
I'm
a
all about
repo,
that.
collections. I mean, I couldn't pay my credit
And
cards
a partridge in a pear tree.
Exactly.
Right?
The name.
Yeah.
I'm not even Maria. I'm Loopy.
Loopy.
Exactly. Change my social.
Yeah.
We have people for that too. My identity,
Yeah.
So I decided to create a company that was going to help in all areas.
Okay.
So if anyone ever does this, or anyone needs help with their credit, to restore their credit, or to repair it, then our company is able to do that, but without judging.
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
Yeah.
So how can I judge somebody that I already had bad credit, right?
Yeah.
In the home loans, I lost my house because we had a interest only balloon payment in 3 years.
Yep.
So now my job is to make sure that we protect all the homeowners, that they don't get into those loans and they're able to afford their payments. In taxes, I mean, if you're a business owner and you're paying all of your taxes to the IRS, I mean, how are you even going to, survive a business or recession?
Right.
So our company provides that flexibility for everybody, so they don't feel lost and they don't feel like a normal person. Well, I don't know if I'm normal, but
yeah. Well, they say crazy people change the world.
Superwoman.
Right? I know. So we want to make sure that those individuals don't feel lost if they ever do go through that.
Yeah.
That there's someone there that will listen to them, because I mean, a lot of them are my friends, and I care about their well-being because they have kids, they have family, and vibes is huge. And I always feel like my clients have the same vibes.
Yeah,
they just love it.
You're attracting it.
Yeah.
So you took like a holistic approach to all finances.
Holistic.
They say if you want to be successful, you find a problem or find an issue and then solve it.
Yes.
Right. So
and give them the value behind that.
Yeah. So not just that. The most successful companies, it's not about what they offer; it's about how you feel after the service,
Yes.
right? Because you can get your taxes done anywhere.
Exactly.
You can get credit repair anywhere.
Yes.
You can get a loan anywhere.
Yes.
But what makes you different is that you care, that you've been there, right? That you want to help, like you truly want to help.
Yes.
Not only that, you're building people around you that also add that value, so they get the full experience from anybody there. They're not just employees; they're actually part of the family.
Yes.
And then that's what I'm creating here. Is like I've never said this is me, my. I said this is what I want this to become. Like if they want to be part of it for the long haul, they can. But if they want to use it as a springboard, because she's a great photographer, right? Hatem wants to be a videographer and do documentaries. But if this could be where everybody gets their springboard, everybody gets known, and then they go and take off and follow their true bliss, then I want to do that.
Yeah.
And for more people, I want the team to get bigger, and we're going to have a huge compound, and it's going to be 250 million subscribers, the #1 podcast in the world. I mean, we're going to have a compound with like a chef and healthy food and a gym and a sauna and like a workout room and a big...
I'll come visit.
Yeah, you can come visit. Yeah.
What a welcome, for sure.
So yeah, I mean that's what it really takes to be successful, because people can feel it.
Yes.
They know.
I actually felt that.
Yeah.
Everything that you were just saying, I'm like, oh, I feel so protected already. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not even your client yet.
Yeah.
Like, what? I think the most important thing, it's like you are leading with your heart, and I felt that.
Yes.
So I just want to acknowledge you on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. She leads with the heart. Yes. I need to get better at that. Right?
You are.
No, I really truly love my clients, and a lot of it's not about the pay, because now I'm in a position, and you were talking about like what
let's talk about that, because I see, at least what I see, that you're a lot. You're clicking right now. Like things are happening.
Yes.
Like your dreams are coming true.
Yes.
So talk about that.
Yes. So going back to where the whole job and walking and having business from a trunk was very like that. To me, I never felt that it was out of the trunk. I always felt like what is happening now. So I think your visions, you just put them into reality, and it just happens and happens.
Yeah.
My mind never knew that it was out of a trunk. If anything, I mean, when my first year that I started doing taxes, I had 8 clients. I mean, my software was more expensive than what I got. And a lot of the times my clients couldn't pay me, so I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, I've been there. Don't worry about it.
You know what? Don't even worry about it. We're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. What's that 85 when I couldn't eat, you know? But at that point, it wasn't even about, the money. It wasn't about the clients. It was about, let me get started, today with 8 clients. Next year, my goal is going to be to double and to double and to double. So that's kind of the approach that I took every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going into the 4th year, and it's kind of like, son of a gun, like, man, like my software is really killing us. Now at that point I had an office, like the rent's killing me now.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working to pay that, and we were still struggling. So I just kind of felt like, when am I going to get a break? But I've never stopped believing that it was going to become this massive, business. Yeah. So clients just continue to gravitate, continue to, happen. I was determined that I was going to succeed no matter what. So I've put like 10%.
14?
Yeah.
Not 14? 114?
Well, I know. Isaac was already looking at me like, you better not say that.
I don't care, whatever.
No.
Half the people don't even understand what we're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Only the people in Newman will be like,
Yeah, that's Maria.
Yeah.
So I always had the belief. I've always had the vision. And even though people around me never had it, it wasn't about them, right? So I just continued to go forward. We obviously did WFG. The reason that I started going into a lot, I mean, I did Primerica, I did WFG. I mean, I've done makeup, I've sold jewelry, I've sold clothes, but only because I wanted to feel like I was going to make an impact. And all of those industries showed me that you can, but that wasn't for me. That wasn't something that I wanted to do forever. It just didn't feel right. So then after we started, doing that and expanding, then clients really just started gravitating. One thing led after another. We took another big hit. I was working out of the kitchen of my house as soon as that happened. But it made me save money. Yeah. And now I ended up opening a bigger office. And now things just escalated. Yeah. And we are now, knock on wood, and everything continues, but we are now a multi-million-dollar company.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
The universe has your back. Yes. You're aligned with your higher purpose, with your heart. The universe has your back.
Yeah. You cannot fail in your purpose.
Yeah, I tell myself, like, if I do the things I love, continue doing the things I love, the money will come. Yes. Simple as that.
Yes. And I think it was just a big part of what you said. It wasn't about the money. It was continuing to serve,
adding value to people.
Yeah, they say you get paid directly in proportion to the value you bring to the market. So like I said, there's many tax preparers, there's many credit repair, but the value that your service brings is obviously a lot greater than the value of all the other people that just do taxes.
Yeah. So what started with 8 clients, we are now a little bit over 3,500 clients.
Wow. That's
Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question. When did the transition go from self-employed to a business owner? Because now you're a business owner. Now you have employees. You have an operation. You're not doing it all by yourself. Because when I met you, it was just you. Me. Yeah. Yeah. And in your office.
Like a quarter of me.
Yeah.
The other was all over the place.
Yeah. So where did that transition happen where you said, I got to stop being self-employed and I got to convert to being a true business owner?
So it started about 3 years ago. But one of the things that I'm still learning, right, because you always continue to learn in business and you continue to always educate yourself, is I've always had this feeling where I want to be the motivator. I want to hire people that don't know this field and motivate them. Okay. But there comes a time where you just have to let go of that, because you don't always control how people get motivated. It's their motivation and it's their way of life if they want to succeed for their family. And I think for the longest time, I've always tried to do that for them. Yeah. Like, I want to be that success for you, right? Yeah. Or I want to teach you how to be successful. I want to motivate you how to do that. And you can't.
Yeah, you can't motivate the unmotivated.
Correct. And to me, it was so important. And I was setting these expectations for all of my employees of, well, why aren't you picking it up? Yeah. And how come you don't do this? And how come you don't feel as passionate as I do? But because it wasn't their vision. Yeah. So now that's what I'm saying is kind of like, even up till last year, we started getting employees. They do the work. They do, what they're supposed to do. But a lot of them are not motivated to succeed. Right. So now it's time for me to take that shift, a little bit stronger and hire people that are there to be motivated, that do have a purpose in life.
Yeah. That is their passion. Yes. They do want to do that. Yes. And that's going to be the big difference. Yes. Because they say when a person finds their purpose, they come alive. Yes. Like, you don't have to be motivated. The vision pulls you. Yes. And well, that's awesome. And so how big is your organization now?
So right now we have a total of 9. And then we're going to be opening up a call center in Guadalajara, Mexico. Wow. So we're traveling over there. So eventually it's going to be a set of 35. And I'm opening up a virtual assistance facility.
Wow, that's exciting. So now you're expanding back in your home country.
Yes.
And you're giving jobs to people in Mexico. Yes. That's amazing. Wow. So I think we met in 2014. Yes. Was it? Yeah, I just came back from Florida. And so you were just you. Yes. Working hard. Still busting job, it. Yeah. Right. Still self-employed, basically. Yes. And it's called self-employed for a reason, because you're employing yourself. You basically bought a job. Right? Correct. Nothing wrong with that, but I just want you guys to understand.
Not even a good paying job at that point.
Yeah. So from the lonely Maria trying to make it work to now having 10 staff, including you. Yes. So you 10 times your business. Correct. You now are going to be opening up a call center of 35 employees in Mexico. So you basically grew at least 10 times in the last 6 years.
Yes.
You just bought what I would say is probably close to your dream home or your dream home. It's a big, beautiful house.
And the crazy thing about it is the picture that I have in my vision board. I'm going to have to share it with you guys.
Yes.
The front of the house that I purchased now, it is almost identical.
Wow. That's exciting. Yeah, that's crazy.
So they work. Attraction.
Yes.
They work.
Yes.
Vision boards work.
Yes. And
wow.
it has a little water area where it's, we have koi fish and we have a pond in the front with a waterfall.
Wow.
I mean, but that picture itself, it is insane to see that something like that could come to reality.
Yeah. It works. Trust me.
Yes.
It works.
I know it works.
Yeah. So did anything on your vision board happen yet, Erica?
Yes. So I purchased a house and then I got my Chevy Tahoe that I had on my vision board.
Wow. Congratulations. Look at that.
Thanks.
And then so you got your dream car too? Is that your dream car?
That is my dream car.
And what kind of car is that?
It's a Maserati.
Wow. A Maserati.
Yes.
So she is the boss
And we
lady.
paid it cash.
She's
Paid
boss
cash.
lady.
And that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
Yes. Financial
I learned
industry.
that in Ed Milet.
Yeah.
He pays everything in cash.
Yeah.
And the reason that I paid it cash, I'm going to share a story, because not only do we run the business, and I say we because everybody helps me out that's in there, right? But we also do investments. So we do flips. One of those investments, and it's crazy to me that the universe, or what you put out, you receive back. So we had a client, he was going through some turmoil with finances. He came to me and I had no appointments, and he goes, I'm going to wait for her because I really need to talk to her. So I usually lend money. I mean, now I don't do it without an asset being in place, right?
You learned.
Yes, but I've always lent money only because I feel for people, because I've been in that situation. So I think my kindness, a lot of people take it and they run with it. I've never got paid for it with a lot. But anyway, this gentleman came in and says, hey, you know what? I'm going through a really bad situation right now and I need $35,000. So I kind of looked at him and I'm like, okay, like, you think I'm just going to cut you a check for $35,000? He said, you know what, you could take one of my properties. I have a rental that you could go ahead and purchase for $35,000. So I was like, okay, so where's this rental at? Stockton.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, great, it's probably just like down to the dirt, you know? But I felt bad for the gentleman, and he needed that money, like, to get out of the office, get the money, and go pay whatever he needed to pay. I don't know what he was in or what happened. So I trusted him, and I said, you know what? We'll go ahead. I have a notary here. We'll go ahead and sign up all documents. We'll do everything. I'll record, and obviously it's going to be my house if you're okay with it. He says, I just need the money. Like, I don't care about the house.
Hey, that's luck. When opportunity and preparation meet, that's luck.
Yes. So we ended up purchasing it, $35,000. I didn't even see the house. I mean, I was like, I don't know what it is, right? We went to go see it. It was trash, but it was trash because the gentleman that was there was just a hoarder. It wasn't trash from the inside of the property.
Okay,
we ended up cleaning it up. It took us about 2 weeks to clean up this home. Ended up putting in about $25,000 in repairs, and we sold it for $290,000.
Wow. That's amazing.
There you go.
That is
awesome.
where that cash car came in play.
That's awesome.
And now in taxes, because I know tax law, I was able to do it 179 and
So
write off the whole
100%,
thing.
yeah.
What?
So you basically got the car for free.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. And see, people out there, that's why you should know about finance.
Correct.
That's why you should go see California Boss Lady.
Yes.
And where is your office at?
We're located in Turlock.
Okay.
And then we're going to be opening one in Richmond and then one in Watsonville within the next month.
Richmond, California?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I used to live there.
Yes.
Awesome.
So it looks like your goal is to expand.
Correct.
Are you going to franchise?
Not at this point. At this
Okay.
point, I want to give opportunity to others.
Okay.
And then just get a percentage of the company, kind of like
Okay.
a franchise, but not really
Okay.
my business. Just
Kinda
help.
Little cut.
Yes.
So you're going to teach them how to build it, and then it's going to carry the name, and you just get a
Correct.
small cut. Yeah.
Yes.
That's smart. That's the best way to do it. So you don't have the headache and all the stuff of
Yeah.
running it. You just say, hey, I'll
Yes.
help you. You just give me my little cut.
Yes.
And that's it. And what's your vision for Just Life Financial?
The vision that I have right now is really small, I would say, right? Because it's not even about Just Life Financial. It's about the employees that are there. I want them to personally grow. It's not even about the company. I think the company is where it's going to go where it's going to go because just now the word of mouth and everything else that's going on. But my biggest goal is to be able to assist as many clients as we can.
Okay. So you want to, what would be a dream book of business? So you're at 3,500 now. What would be your dream book of business?
0. I want to retire.
So you're not running it, but you're still collecting the money. Yeah. So who's that daughter that's going to take care of the business?
Exactly, and she's coming up. Huh?
Yeah,
yes, definitely.
So now you just got to basically train her and have her take it over. And you know, that's how you know you're doing something good, because they interviewed CEOs of companies, the kids of the CEOs.
Yes.
And I'm talking about corporate America. And they asked the kids, would you want to have the job that your mom or dad have? And they said no. They said, why? I said, because I never see my parents.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because the sacrifice you make for a lot of success in corporate America is time.
Yes.
But that's the beauty of being a business owner. You buy back your time.
Yes.
Right? Because you leverage a system, you leverage people, you leverage all that stuff, right? So just the fact that even one of your kids is even thinking of taking over your business says something good about what you do. Because your kids had a positive effect from your business.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of a negative effect.
Right.
Right? So that's probably the one thing that any business owner or any successful person would be, that your family had a positive effect from what you were doing.
Yes.
Well,
The big struggle, I think, with women, I think probably more than men, and you know, it might be the same. Maybe men just don't show it, right? But it's the guilt that you have behind that when you are running a business, about never seeing your kids, not attending their you know, sports events, not attending their classrooms, not being able to participate in, you know, when they volunteer, the parents, field trips, things like that. That's something that you sacrifice, and it's deep, like rooted in you as you're running the business. And although you don't show it, it's a guilt that you always have. Yeah. But once you see that child that actually wants to do it, then you're like, you know what? Everything was all worth it at that point.
And you know what? I think, to be honest, and I could be wrong, I might not know what the hell I'm talking about, but I think all the sports and all that kind of stuff, like, it's just really, it keeps people down mainly.
Yes.
It's a very expensive hobby.
Yes.
Unless your kids are going to go pro, you're basically wasting money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas you sacrificed maybe time with them. I don't remember if my dad showed up to my games or not, but I remember my dad busting his ass.
Yes.
I remember him being an entrepreneur. I remember him being a leader. I'm so grateful that I live in this beautiful area because of my father, because he had the vision to move to a better area. And we have this house in Campbell, which is, I mean, I would not be able to afford this house now. Correct. You know, but because we got it back a long time ago, I'm able to live in a beautiful area. It's a nice area. I never understood it growing up. But now I could care less if my dad went to my game or not. I now value the fact that he was a great father, that he was a leader. He taught me the principles of success and all this kind of stuff. And so that's a lesson for, you know, especially power women or power parents that feel very bad, like they're hurting their family or they're not around. That's not the case. No. At least in my perspective and yours, your kids aren't gonna remember the basketball game or whatever. They're gonna remember that you made the family better. Yes. They're gonna remember that you taught them stuff that actually works in life. They're gonna remember you doing amazing things, you know, and that's, I think, stuff that lasts generations.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, just for like all the listeners that do run a business and, you know, they're always second guessing, you know, should I continue? Should I go get a job? Regardless, you still need to make income. Right. So whether it be a job, you're still not going to be with your child. And now you just have to ask for permission to go to the field trip. Exactly. When you're self-employed, you could probably go ahead and go. Yeah. Or another thing is that income that you're going to get at a later time, teaching your kids how to become, you know, entrepreneurs. So a job is never going to do that. You're going to retire and you're not going to leave anything for anyone. Yeah.
And another thing about that too is like, as an entrepreneur, it's not permanent sacrifice. Correct. It's only for a little while if you do it right. Because success demands that you pay the price upfront and in full. You got to put in all the effort in the beginning. In the beginning, because, you know, we had a conversation about balance, and I think balance is a myth. I think balance is bullshit. It's not about balance because there's no such thing as balance. Right. It's about harmony, or it's about being temporarily unbalanced so that you can have more harmony later in life. So in the beginning, when you were building Just Life Financial, like you probably felt like you were not doing what you needed to do for your family. But that was only 6 years, and now your family felt like a lifetime. It felt like a lifetime. Trust me, and it does. But that's just a testament to your mental toughness and your fortitude, right? Now your family and your kids are probably like, hell yeah, Mom, we don't even care that you were gone. This is awesome. And like, look, and then now they see it and they go, I could do that too. You You know what I mean? Versus mom is at a job she hates and she's just struggling every single day and she's tired.
Yes.
And most people, because I worked in retirement, most people work 40, 50 years and they end up broke.
Yes.
They end up with nothing. You know, the only reason my parents are successful is because they bought real estate.
Right.
It wasn't their jobs, and they had good jobs. My mom worked at Intel for 35 years and lost everything in her 401k in 2008. My dad worked many, many jobs and ended up making a really good income with no degree because he was a leader, right?
Right.
He was basically the executive level with no degree, you know, immigrant from Mexico, but my dad was a leader. And the reason they're retired in Hawaii is because they bought real estate. It wasn't their jobs and their 401ks. It was the side business that they had. But also, like you mentioned, yeah, will have to work sometimes. You might have to have a job and your side hustle.
Yes.
Because you have to make the money. But you have to put full-time effort into your side hustle. What I see too much is people putting all their effort in their job and little effort in the business, and then they wonder why it never succeeds.
Correct.
Why are you giving full-time effort to something that's temporary? You need to be putting full-time effort into your business, even though you have a job. Like, you need to just go hard, like go ham when you're off of work, and then only for a short period of time. And then once that takes off, then you can get rid of the job, and then your dreams, happen. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think you have to sacrifice for a short period of time to have your forever dream be a reality. So with my kids, and that's what I always tell everybody is kind of like that guilt that you have, right? But you're still going to work no matter what. Mind you, the job that I did have at that time, and I was still having my business, fired me. So that was the best. I mean, honestly, like, I would probably send them flowers every single day now, right? At that point, is like, I've never been fired from a job. Like, what are you firing me for? But the reason that they ended up firing me is because I did have a business. So they said, you have to focus with us 100% or you have to be with your business. You can't do both. So technically it wasn't a firing. It was just kind of like, you're going to have to resign, right? And we'll give you a severance pay. They gave me a severance pay. They did all of that. But I was beat because I was like, not again. Like, now all of a sudden I'm going to struggle again. Not knowing that if I would have started 100% with my business, it wouldn't have been where it's not now. We probably wouldn't be here, right? Because I probably wouldn't be way out.
We're like, where is she? Oh, she's traveling again.
Exactly.
We got to wait till she comes back from Dubai.
But sometimes things happen in your life for a reason. And that's what you were saying is about the balance. I don't think you ever have a balance. You either have to go full in 100% or don't do it half-ass.
Yeah, because time's just going to go by.
Yes.
And then you're going to wake up and be like, whoa, I'm older, but nothing happened. You know what I mean?
And for the longest time, your kids are never going to tell you how appreciative they are or how grateful until they become adults.
My dad's famous quote was, you hate me now, but you're going to thank me later.
Exactly.
You hate me now, but and then later I'm like,
thank you.
Thank you.
I know.
And by the way, you mentioned something too. People that spend all this time with their kids, sometimes they don't even spend it with their kids. They're watching TV.
Yes. Or
they're
on their phones
phone.
now. Social media is a big impact.
It's not about the amount of time. It's about the quality of time.
Yes.
And I learned that in my previous business because my CEO was a busy guy. But every time he was with his kids, which was not a lot, but he was with them, mentoring them and coaching them. And I'm like, wow. So he spends 2 hours with his kids, more quality than someone that spends probably 30 hours with their kids during the week.
Yes.
So it's not even just about the amount of time, it's about the quality of that time.
One of the games that we used to have is, mommy's going to go to work. When they were smaller, they didn't understand that.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, you're always working. And I said, but this is for us to do this. So I always introduce them to my vision.
Okay.
Like, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to live. This is the car that we're going to do. This is the money that I'm making. This is, everything about that. So at the end of the night, I used to say, hey, mommy made this amount of money. And then I used to give them a commission.
Oh, wow.
For, waiting up for me or for doing something for me. So here's your part of the commission.
Yeah.
So then tomorrow we'll go get you something. Not that I bought them, but they understood that I sacrificed to bring this home so that you guys could definitely enjoy the fruits of that.
And that's an important lesson because they will be like, Mom, what are you doing home? Go make the money.
Exactly. No, most of the time they would do that.
They're like, we're supposed to go to Disneyland, remember? Did you make your commissions?
Now we have investment Sundays. And now they're older. So what we do is, like, you know, for instance, this Sunday there was an estate sale. So I said, hey, let's go. But I wanted to go because I wanted to go purchase the house. And they had this big offering on the house. So I go, everybody, let's go. They have a lot of antique stuff. If you guys could find anything, purchase it and then resell it. So they do a lot of reselling online.
Okay.
So they get this money, they go and they resell, right? So they ended up getting all these antique stuff. They put in $50, and their turnaround for OfferUp was $1,150.
Wow.
So they know the value of investments.
Yeah.
They saw that I actually pitched to the owner of that property about a cash offer. I have a cash offer for this home. Not only that, we were able to pick up another 20 acres in Don Pedro Lake.
Wow.
So they were there watching that. That's something that I don't think that any book would be able to ever teach them.
Yeah, it's nothing like watching it happen.
Yes.
By the way, you said Don
Pedro.
Are you going to build like a lake house there, or are you going to sell the property?
So I'm planning to maybe flip. So there's 20 acres. I don't think I need that many.
Okay. You're like, yeah, I'll sell 15 and keep 5.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to flip, and then you may keep that for maybe something that you want to build. Okay.
Where's that at?
In Don Pedro, it's over. It's a lake in the Central Valley a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a big famous lake that people go and fish. And
yeah, that's something I learned recently too about balance. It's like, you know, when it comes to being successful in one thing, you have to have an intense focus. So I understand that there is no balance when it comes to that. But like for me, in order for me to have the energy that I need to be balanced in order to be in harmony to all the things I'm doing.
Yes.
So that's something I just like, we had this conversation in a group chat, like, oh, okay, I get it. I
think it depends on the person too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I am like action. So I am not about like, I'm 100% to whatever I'm focused on. And a lot of the times I leave everything else kind of like to the side.
Yeah.
But it's not because I do it intentionally. It's because the faster that I focus on something and get it done, the faster I could go back and divert my attention to whatever else needs to be, you know, diverted.
I'm the same way too. Like if I choose to do something, it's like all or nothing, like, and get it done fast. Because I always feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
Like no matter
like
what.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm here going to suffer for like, you know, let's say for instance, 5 years when I could just go full force 3 months.
Yeah.
And maybe never sleep. Maybe get older than I look. But, you know, at least
detox after.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know,
Need my mouth and my.
So I learned something about this. It's like, number one, there's something called the Michael Jordan syndrome. You were talking about this earlier. High achievers don't understand why other people don't think like them.
Yes.
They're like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Like, why don't you do this? But it's just because they're different, like you said. And like you just have to understand that and be impatient with yourself, but be patient with others.
Yes.
And that's what I'm learning, because I never learned that before. And you know, I was always like, if they're not on my pace, then they're out, you know, and like, and it doesn't work that way. You know, I failed so many times in leadership and in businesses because of that. But you never lose the impatience with yourself and your own goals. Like you're always like on it, and then you just be patient with people, and and
sometimes
they'll
I look at it and I was like, oh my God, like, are you serious? Like, you have so much potential. Like, if you would just put a little bit more effort, you could probably do everything you wanted in life. But you don't, because you're afraid of the change. People are so afraid to change. They adapt to being, you know, in that area or stuck in that area, that it's kind of like, oh my God, just step out a little bit out of your comfort zone. You're going to see the beauty of the world instead of being stuck, instead of having that pressure of everyday life. And so, and I hope you guys out there listening, you're learning something, because this is principles of success. And we have examples here of, you know, people that have made it, lost it, got it back, now mentoring people, you know, all this kind of stuff. And this is what it takes. And, you know, you have two options. Like, you either do it or you don't, you know, and time's going to keep going no matter what. But, something that I'm really excited about with this podcast, and I know there's going to be haters, and I know that I'm putting myself out there, and
haters,
people are talking smack. But for the first,
can we flip them off now or later?
Our bubble is too big.
I don't even care about flipping them off, because this is what I tell people. I go, nobody could believe. Absolutely, the whole world could not believe in you, but if you believe in yourself, that's all that matters.
Yes.
If the whole world can believe in you, but if you don't believe in yourself, you're done.
Matters.
You're done, right? With this, I'm betting on me. And I believe in me.
Yes.
Right. And so I don't care what anybody says, what anybody talks about. I believe in me.
Correct.
I'm betting on me. This is going to happen. We are going to be the #1 podcast in the world. We are going to have 250 million subscribers. And whoever comes along with me is just they're also going to improve their life, just like how you're doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it's exciting because, and I don't regret anything that happened. I don't regret the last 10 years. I don't regret 2008. I don't regret anything because I learned from it all.
Yes.
But for the first time in my life, I'm fulfilled. Like every day, I'm like,
you're excited.
I like my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my life is cool. You know, like I like what I'm doing. Like this is fun to me. We're working. Like we work, and it's hard work. And I give a lot of credit to these to these people, Joe, and especially Hatem too, because this guy Hatem has a full-time job, like where they make him do 16 18-hour shifts, sometimes back to back.
Come work with me.
Yeah. And then this guy still goes and edits for a couple hours after, and then goes and takes pictures. And that's how I know, like, dang, this guy is like, he wants it.
Exactly.
Like he's in his purpose.
But aren't you going to do what you're going to do to make it happen?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, why make excuses?
Yeah. I mean,
and so many people, they work, I can't do this because I work 8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do the rest?
Yeah.
You can have like 2 hours, 3 hours after work.
Yes.
That's what they say.
But to do your dreams, why wouldn't you do it the other way around? You get a little part-time job and you fulfill the rest of it to follow your passion.
So full-time's a mindset. I always tell people, because there's this lady in my business, her name is Aman, and she'll be on the podcast soon. Aman was a full-time cancer researcher, working 10 to 12 hours a day, lived in Pacifica, was busy. Used to wake up at 2 a.m., run a coffee business, go to the gym, and then work another 10, 12 hours stuck in a lab with mice. But she was a champion. We gave her the opportunity in our business. She exploded, but she had very little time. I mean, she was busy, right? Didn't really know anybody, only been in the country for 6 years. And she got the overall rookie of the year last year. She blew over 6 figures in her first year, but because her mindset was full time. Her job was like, I'm there, then I'm out.
Right.
Every other second she had was all about her business. And she absolutely killed it. She's going to do amazing things. But I just tell people, I go full time is a mindset. It's not how many hours you have. And if it is your true passion, it's not going to be hard to put in the work and the effort. Right. So now Just Life Financial is flourishing. You're helping people. You're obviously changing people's lives like you wanted to do. And I know your kids are doing very well. I saw that one of them just purchased a home.
So the vision on the vision board is that all my children will have an investment home before the age of 25.
Wow. Okay.
And as of right now, 3 have accomplished that, and I'm waiting for my 17-year-old to turn 18.
Oh, wow. So she's just not old enough to buy it. Yeah, that's awesome. And so how do they feel about it? Like, are they excited? Like
super excited.
Yeah.
I mean, credit, that's another thing that they're excited. It doesn't have to go as far as being money coming in. It's about the accomplishment of they get with that. So as soon as they turn 18, everyone's always on their Credit Karma, although that's not an authentic credit score. But they're on Credit Karma, and they every week check their credit score.
That's awesome.
And that is something that they compete against each other.
It's better than checking Instagram,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
And what's your credit at? Or if we have dinner, everybody's like, oh, pull up your Credit Karma. I want to see everybody's credit score. So they're big on competition.
Yeah.
And I love that because I love to see that they're not going to suffer in that area in life. I mean, it might be anything else, but that is something that I at least have been able to cover for them.
Yeah.
So I think that like I said, they really don't say anything until you become older. My 26-year-old, he actually for the first time says, Mom, I'm so happy. And I thank you for everything that you've done for the family. So I know that it comes to a point where they understand the sacrifice, and that's probably how we feel about our parents now.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we were growing up, it's something that is just kind of, you just live day by day until you understand the sacrifice that people make for you.
Yeah. And it takes a strong person to be patient enough to wait for the return.
Yes.
They say successful people have delayed gratification. They trade what they want most for what they want now for what they want most. we live in a society of instant gratification. That's where social media, like, I'm not successful in 2 months. It's not working. You know what I mean? But what you taught them and what you experienced yourself is the power of delayed gratification. And like, it took a while, and you probably went through some times where you were like, man, this is difficult.
Yes.
But now,
and I think every day you feel like quitting.
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, it's never easy, and you're always growing.
Exactly.
But you are living a life that most people will never be able to live.
Yeah, and thank you for pointing out the credit score. I grew up in a household. My parents have really, really bad relationship with money. And you talk about credit score all the time.
Yes.
So I grew up like, okay, you got to make sure your credit score is good. My credit score is good right now, actually.
Yes.
But my parents' credit score is really whack.
Have them call me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk to you about my mom's credit score.
Maybe one day we'll do a whole podcast on actual credit.
I would love that.
Maybe we could talk about doing some collaboration with a financial podcast.
Yeah, because I grew up where it's like all about money. You got to get money, money, work. Next thing you know, they make really bad decisions, and their credit score is really
But a lot of it is all based on education too. Because the schooling system, by nature, they're not going to teach you that.
Exactly.
And it's because the government wants you to be in debt. The government wants you to have these high interests, because who makes the money? The banks,
all those credit cards.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I mean, how does it feel for you now as a mom, seeing like your kids obsessed with credit instead of Instagram and OnlyFans and all this kind of stuff? Like, and
it's scary. It's a lot of pride. It's obviously you're proud of them for capturing that. One of the things I think in like maybe even like successful people, we really don't see the success.
Yeah.
Because we live it every single day.
It's normal.
It's normal. And because we're going, it's kind of like when you're getting older, right? You really don't see everything until somebody points out something like, hey, you're getting old, right? Or, I mean, any flaws, you don't see it because you feel like you're just going through an everyday motion. So when you do sit back, because I do that often now, is I sit back and I look at the progress of the company or the progress of my kids mentally, then at that point, it is just like, gratitude. Like, I'm always thankful for obviously the skills and the talent, and I always thank me, right? Because I'm always like, thank you so much for not quitting on yourself. Because I mean there was times that I literally did not want to continue. It was just, I need to stop. I feel guilty. There's a lot of pressure between everybody. But now it is just gratitude, like you wouldn't even believe. It's not about the money. It's not about any of that. Sometimes I don't even know what's going on, but it is just this thankfulness in life. And you just see life is such a beautiful way of seeing it, just positive, just creating that for others is I think, what to me is just like, I'm always thankful. It's
Do you know The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? He has the same principle, gratitude.
Really?
Look, he used to be broke. He had $7 in his pocket. He's like a billionaire. Like, I think a billionaire now, right?
He's close. He's pretty close.
Yeah, he's pretty close.
He
has
be.
like the most followers on Instagram.
Yeah, 250 million or something like that.
He's all about gratitude.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And he's like the kindest man. Like, everyone meets him. Like, he's so kind,
Yeah, and it's important because gratitude just attracts more of what you're grateful for. Yeah. Jealousy blocks it. We're talking about vibration again.
Right. Yeah, we were actually just talking before we came out here, and there was a client that called, and I was like, I'm not going to help him because he was acting a certain way. And then, so I went into my office, I did some stuff, and then I came out, and then she looked at me and she goes, you ended up helping him, didn't you? And I was like, man, like, I just can't hate people. You know what I mean? It's just like this love that you have, and it's just helping people, although we don't know what they're going through in life. So I just feel like, what if he's even having a bad day? And here I am judging him on that. So I'll just continue and I'll help him. And hopefully he appreciates it. If not, I'll appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
I'm good at what I do.
You made a difference. Yeah.
You get the fulfillment from it.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, like, your kids are successful. You're successful. The business is flourishing. You're helping mentor people. Where do you see yourself heading to next? Is continue to grow the business, or what's the next steps for you?
No, right now what I'm doing is instead of just focusing so much on just life, I'm helping other business owners that maybe are struggling, and I'm helping them create capital to be able to run their business. And I'm going in there and kind of guiding them through the business side of it, so then their business could also be successful.
So is that consulting or is it venture capital?
Venture capital.
Oh, so you're becoming a VC?
Yes.
Wow. from California tax boss lady to now a venture capitalist. That's a big deal. Well, I mean, that's amazing, and I wish like you the best and continued success.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners out there? Any last things you want to give? Anything else you want to talk about real quick?
No, the only thing is that don't quit on your dreams or your passion. Continue to always push forward. Continue to always be that example for your family. And if anything, change your wealth of your family and end that curse.
Yes.
Because it can happen.
Yeah, they say, I may not have come from a rich family, but a rich family is going to come from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, they even say, like, well, money's not everything. Like, I'm not doing it for the money. If you think it was for the money, then I would just do it on my own, right?
By the way, money's just money. It's not about the money, like you said. It's about the freedom.
Yeah.
It's about money's not everything. Oh, if we gave you $50,000 a month, would you turn it down? No.
Yeah.
Well, then they obviously.
Well, then why do people work?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about what you could do with that money that could help others continue to live their life.
And those are just limiting beliefs that it's just generational limiting beliefs, and I've had them too. And like you said, money doesn't change you; it just makes you more of who you are. If you're a good person, you're going to be a great person. If you're an asshole, you're just going to be a bigger asshole. You know what I mean? But anyway, so we always have something special at the end of every podcast. It's called Joe's 6 questions.
6 Qs.
6 Qs, right?
Okay,
so Joe's going to ask you 6 questions, and then
Okay.
we'll go ahead and wrap it up right after that.
Awesome.
Yep. I wrote this maybe 10 minutes before you got here.
Okay.
So the first question is, what advice would you give to someone who has an unhealthy relationship with money?
The first advice would be to really look within and find out what are the areas that they're missing in their, I guess, financial world. So when you have a financial problem, it's not the finances, it's you.
Yeah.
So it's personally that you need to get out of that, and you need to understand how finances work, know how to play the game before you could actually do anything. So it's not the income that you're making. It's not the debt that you have. It is you that is the one that is controlling and has the control over it.
So true.
Yeah. They say
a lot.
They say if you don't know the rules of the game, how do you expect to win it?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, the second one is, what is... No, that's not
My weight?
Where did you get that lumber?
So the second one is, what is one advice you want to give to anyone who doesn't feel confident about following their dreams?
If you're not comfortable or if you're not confident about it, my suggestion is to go slow, to learn it first, and then go step by step. Don't try to take too much on if you're not confident even about trying to step into the first realm of business. So know what you're going to do first before you're going to go out there and do it. A lot of people go out there and do it, they fail, and they think that they suck at business. It's not that they suck at business, they suck at preparation.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Yeah, they say go fast or go slow, but just go.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'm going to have to take notes and, watch this episode and take notes.
Yes.
This is good stuff. So number 3, what's your anchor in life?
My wives, my family.
I love that. Pretty simple. So if the doctor told you only had 48 hours left to live, what is the first thing and the last thing you would do? 48 hours. First and last thing.
First of all, I would probably plan it. Because I plan everything.
Yeah.
Although I don't do a good job now because we have so much going on. But the first thing that I would do is probably appreciate, make sure that everybody understands that I appreciated them. Yeah. And I cry just because.
You got this.
So my father recently passed.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
And we were given 3 weeks before he passed. So the question actually fit really deep. But the first thing that we did was actually have the whole family there and sit with him. And I thanked him for the strength that he gave us. And luckily, they gave us 3 weeks, and he lasted a whole year.
Wow.
So within that year, I was able to purchase their dream home. So I was able to purchase them a house. That's something that I wanted to do. And for my birthday, I ended up gifting it to them.
Wow.
So on my vision board, that was something that I wanted to do, is I wanted to purchase a house for my parents. So I ended up doing that before he passed. He was able to see his house. But the last thing that I would probably do is just be united with my family.
United.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Do we have a
I know.
yeah.
I
See,
told
we're
you
talking about the makeup.
I
And
told you I
then-
didn't want to cry, but it was that question.
Yeah. So and you know what? It's okay.
And I
That-
think she knew I think she
Yeah.
knew that what was
She
going
knew it
on.
was gonna come.
Yes.
people want to see the realness, though.
You know,
They appreciate
you know
that.
what's funny? This is the first time I ever asked that question.
Oh, really?
And I thought about that question weeks ago. I didn't do it
Oh,
in the last
wow.
episode. It just didn't feel
Yeah.
right. But for some reason, like, you know, for some reason I felt like it would feel
so,
right to
so
do it
and
tonight.
the reason that I always say about gratitude is because it's something really touching, especially with like my father. He was my hero, and everywhere that he went, I went. So he taught me how to shoot. He was always with like the boys. I was always there next to him. The last couple of years, luckily he was able to come over here and stay with us. They retired and they went back to the home country, and I was able to really enjoy the last couple of months while he was with me. And I ended up being his caretaker.
Wow.
And I was able to do that because of the business that I
Yeah,
have.
because of the hard work you put in.
Yes.
It actually.
And for him to
yeah.
see the success, and for him to see that, the property that we purchased for him, that was the biggest thing for him. He was so proud.
Wow.
And just seeing that, I mean, death is something that's normal. So obviously we cry because we know that we're not going to see them again. But knowing that I did something that impacted his life while he was alive, that to me is what's emotional.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry. That's
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure. Erica wants to say something.
So the boss lady always tells us at the office, if your wives don't make you cry, then they're not.
Yeah.
I
They're
love
not
that.
your wife.
Yeah.
You know
Your
what's
wife should
funny?
make you cry.
I've been thinking about
It's
that.
so true.
Yeah.
So true.
They're not big
Wow.
enough because they're not
Yes.
gonna.
Yeah,
they're not gonna
absolutely.
motivate you.
Correct.
So true.
It's so true.
And I just want to share something about passing away that might help you, because I used to be afraid of death a
Yeah.
lot, and then I learned something, that we're spiritual beings, that we don't
Yes.
we don't ever pass away.
Correct.
The earth suit, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. The body is what holds all the trauma, all the
Yeah.
heartache, all the fear, everything, right? So when we pass, the soul just leaves the body. So your father is now happy, like he is like he's the spirit. He's like
Yeah.
wee. He's still around.
Right.
It's just not in the earth form.
Right.
You know what I mean? The sadness, like you said, comes from us because we
Yes.
can't see them anymore. We can't
Correct.
there, but we never pass. We just go back into the universe. Our soul does, but now all the pain, all the worry, all the fear is absolutely gone because the body holds that,
Yes.
right? So your father's still around. Your
Right.
father's still watching. He's happy,
Yeah.
but now he's happy. He's excited.
Right.
He's doing whatever the soul wants to
Yes.
do.
And no
right?
pain.
And no pain.
No pain.
Exactly.
Absolutely zero pain.
And he
Joy.
lived a really, really
Yeah.
good life. I mean,
Yeah.
that is something that, we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even cry as much as I did right now in his funeral.
Yeah.
But because I was content with the amount of life and love that we gave him while he was here.
Yeah.
So that's something that once he passed, he actually waited for me, and he ended up passing. And he told me
Yeah.
that he was
Wow.
going to go. So that to me
Wow.
was just very powerful.
That was
And
very
that was powerful too, because number one, he was content.
Yes.
He was like, my job is done here on earth. My daughter like that. You should be super proud of that.
Yes.
Because all that see, if you wouldn't have put in all that hard work, if you would have quit all that stuff, you wouldn't have been able to be there
Correct.
at the time when your parents really needed you
Yes.
to actually fulfill their dream.
Yes.
So that should be a lesson to everybody out there. Don't give up, because it's not about you.
Exactly.
It's about who's going to benefit from it
Yes.
later.
Yes.
And the worst feeling would be if you can't follow through at that moment.
And when they told me, like, I was just like, no. I even told the doctor, like, what do you mean? Like, I haven't even fulfilled what I said I was going to do for them. And one of them is to accomplish that, you know, I was going to be able to give them their home. They've always been from Mexico here, always renting, always going from house to house. They've never had a stable home. And, you know, although my siblings, of course, they welcomed them in, but it wasn't theirs. And that was a goal of mine that it was like always in the back of my mind. Always, 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 always. And when I ended up doing it, we constructed the house. We did everything that was going to be accommodating for them, because he was now in a wheelchair. We ended up doing, you know, large rooms. We ended up doing the small closets. I mean, we went all out for this house. And for him to see, you know, for him to actually see that, and for me to see him, it was for my birthday. So I told them, hey, I'm going to take you guys out for dinner. So everybody get ready. And they're like, okay. So we went, you know, and they were actually staying with me at that point. And I said, we're going to go out for dinner. And my dad's like, Mija, I'm really, really ill. Like, I just can't walk. And I said, Dad, you're not going to take no for it. I'm not going to take no for an answer. We're going to put you in your wheelchair. You're going to go with us. And we have pictures of that evening, you know. But we pulled up to the house, and he kind of like looked around, and he was like, okay, this is our dinner or what? So they kind of like looked, and my mom looked, and then she's kind of like, okay. And I said, hey, I need to show you guys something. So just get down. So as we were walking, obviously they saw the wheelchair ramp. And as we were walking in, they kind of looked at me, and I kind of looked at them, and I said, okay, so, you know, you guys stop before you guys, before I give you guys something. I said, but you guys gave me birth, so this is the gift for me to you.
Wow.
And I mean, at that point, it was just like all my kids were there. And, you know, that's another thing, is that you want your kids to see the good heart person that you are, so they could continue to do that in life. Because it's not about me. It's not about the money. The money's only going to last so long. So it was something more powerful than that, and to be able to accomplish that. So I gave them the keys to their house. My mom opened the door. We rolled, you know, my dad in, and he looked, and he was just like, this is really ours. And I said, Dad, you no longer have to move anywhere. If anything, you're going to die here at your house. And we knew he was going to pass, but at least he was able to die at his home.
You gave him something he never had.
Yes.
And he found, that's amazing. Wow. Well, that's awesome. And that's a lesson, like I said, for everybody.
So
don't give up, because it's not about you.
No. And the gratitude, and that's why, you know, the question was, you know, what would you do first, is, you know, appreciate everybody that you have around you and thank them for being in your life. And then the last would be, you know, just being able to be there with your family.
That's awesome.
I have two more questions.
Everybody, deep breath.
I'm like,
That's
amazing.
See.
First time I cried on a podcast.
There you go. See, this is
Deep.
good stuff, guys.
And we're all water signs.
Sorry,
too.
I'm like an ugly crier.
No,
but
you're beautiful.
And your birthday's in 9 days?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Mine's
you.
in 11 days, so there we go.
There you go.
Or
Okay, you guys
12,
ready for
13? I don't know.
the next question?
Yep.
So,
Yes.
what is your number one wish for the world?
Just to treat everybody with respect and be a real human instead of thinking that they're above anyone, is to really look within and appreciate the beauty of what everybody brings. It's not everybody's evil, and not everyone is out to get you. So kind of just treat everybody with respect, and, you know, be good to humans.
Can I be your friend? I want to be your friend for life. Seriously. Seriously. Thank you for bringing her.
You're welcome.
Here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew Loopy was going to bring it.
Loopy?
Yeah.
Boss lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the last question is, what does following your bliss feel and look like for you?
Oh, man. So following my bliss, I think, was more internal, and it feels fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like a boss, right?
boss.
Like a boss.
Yes.
Boss lady.
Fucking badass.
Fucking badass.
La chingona.
La chingona.
Yes. It feels like it's unstoppable at a certain point.
That's awesome.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's what the Boost Seekers is about.
Yeah.
Following
Yeah.
your bliss. So.
We want people to be unstoppable.
Yes.
So if you want to have that unstoppable feeling out there, you just saw the formula. Never give up. You know, follow your dreams, work hard, care about people, value people, make it more than just about you, and help others. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But anything else you wanna
No,
leave?
thank you so much for the opportunity. I actually was gonna cancel on you.
Yeah, that's okay. Good, thank God you didn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, and it's just, you get overwhelmed and you get, your everyday life. But I'm actually really, really glad that I was able to come.
Well, thank you. I'm very glad that you're able to come too. And I'm kind of learning that in this business now that everybody's hesitant in the beginning, and then at the end they're just like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I did this."
Yes.
So I mean, thank you guys, both of you guys, so much for being on here, and I wish you 100% the best, and 114%, right? And Erica, I can't wait till you're following her footsteps, and
Thank you.
I hope that I know your family's proud. I know your kids are proud.
Thank you.
Your job as a parent is just to raise them to be decent human beings. Like the rest is up to them, right?
Yes.
But I think you've done way more than what you needed to. I mean, my father always told me the only way we can really make an impact in the world is to raise great children.
Yes.
And I believe and I know that you've done that. So congratulations. You should be proud. You know what I mean? And I know it wasn't easy, but it feels fucking, what do you say? Fucking.
So fucking badass.
It feels fucking badass, right? So Joe, anything you wanna leave us with before we say goodbye?
Well, I've learned so much from you, and you, like always, every podcast, and I'm definitely gonna be taking notes. And also preparation. And to me, preparation is not just about the external, but it's also the internal. Before coming here, I had to really tap into my heart. Why am I doing this?
Yes.
I tell myself this is gonna be the best episode ever.
That's right.
And then we're gonna have an epic time. That's it. Epic time. It's gonna be magical. And that's basically what happens.
Yeah.
So when you set something out and you say that to yourself, it'll happen.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm really grateful you guys took the time to come out here. Again, this is going to be the #1 podcast in the world.
That's right.
Yes.
200, 300 million.
And I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it too. Thank you.
And
I'm
also,
grateful. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm also about making an impact and adding value to people, and having this platform really excites me.
Yes.
To have people like you guys come here. We're gonna have more content out there, so
Yes.
I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And the last thing, I want you to be able to plug yourself and let everybody know where you're at. We'll put it in the description too. By the way, all the links to her, where you can find her, is going to be in the description below. But please let them know where can they find you, how can they find you, what they can come to you for right now. Right now is all yours.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm more than happy to help anybody out there. It's not necessarily, like I said, for any of the services that we have, although we want you to come and, participate with the best. But we're located in Turlock, California. We're Just Life Financial Services. You can find me on all social medias as a California Boss Lady. And we have a big group of following. Every day we put new content as well, and we also inspire and we motivate on a daily basis. Awesome. So it's just not about credit. It's not going to be just about home loans. Some people just need that push in life, and that's what I'm here to do. Yeah. So as long as I could get, one person to actually believe in their dreams, I think we all succeed, right?
100%.
Yes. So if anybody needs anything for credit, home loans, refinancing, reverse mortgages, accounting, taxes, you know where to find us. We're in Turlock, and the number is 209-622-8982.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, website.
So it would be under www.jlfcorp.com.
Okay, so jlfcorp.com, and your social media one more time.
It's ca.bosslady, and then Facebook is Maria Medina.
So ca.bosslady and Maria Medina. We'll put everything in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And you know what? This is what you're going to get on the podcast. Make sure you check us out on the next episode. And as always, follow your bliss.